Hello, everyone. How are you? We are eagerly awaiting the arrival of our co-host Sam Slade for this thing that we're doing today. He got held up in a burrito incident. Sam apparently went to get a breakfast burrito and locked his keys in his car and is dutifully racing home so he can get back to his studio and get here on time. Because that's the thing that happens with people when you work with people from Texas. They need their breakfast burritos. But while I've got you here all to my lonesome, let me go ahead and plug everything that you can do to help out this channel. You can go to patreon.com/ Jack Matirko and join my Patreon. That would be amazing of you. You can go to Amazon and pick up any of my fine books just by looking at my name. That's Matirko, Matirko. You can get this one. This one covers all the time I spent covering the Satanic Temple, and you should really pick this one up because that's going to be an important subject for the next couple of years, I reckon. Their lawsuits are a big deal. We'll talk about that a little once Sam gets here. Clerical Errors, my collection of short stories and poetry and other assorted writings. It's called a miscellany. You should. That's fun. It's just fun. This one, this is a coloring book. If you like need to just relax and turn off and unplug and get out your colored pencils and just spend a day doodling. It's a good book for that. And this, we've got everything here. A little kind of weird kids book thing that I wrote that you can also pick up, but you can do those things and you can go to the patreon.com/ Jack Matirko. Really appreciate that, at least until I get enough subscribers on this channel that I can monetize with some commercials or something, which would be rad because I hate asking you people for money. But the fact of the matter is, this train keeps rolling. If people like you are still, buying my stuff, basically. And if you go on the Patreon, there's a lot of cool stuff there. I've got all my old Naked Diner podcast episodes. I've got a ton of, these episodes. There's back episodes from when it was on TST TV. There's some other cool stuff you can get in the shop that's over there. So go check that out. And all right, we're still waiting for Sam. He said he was going to be 5 minutes late. We're 7 minutes late now. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got some weird public domain stuff queued up. So yeah, I'm going to play I'm going to do a screen share to my QuickTime window. And but yeah, we're just gonna play a private snafu because it's public domain and I can. And we'll talk to Sam when he gets here, hopefully. Okay, well, that killed 5 minutes. We're still waiting on Sam. He assures me that he is jumping on just now. Oh, there he is. Hey, excellent timing. Sometimes we have some trouble when Sam gets up and running. So his audio doesn't always connect right away. Oh, says audio. Sam, you there? Sam. Can't hear you. Dead air. All right, I can see you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, hey, there you are.
Oh my God, what a fucking morning.
I
I don't even want to get into it. Well, it's not even a waste of time.
I explained to the people that you had a burrito incident.
Whew. God bless the hardworking folks at Rudy's Barbecue.
That's a fine shout out.
Are we live right now?
We are. We've been live. I started a couple minutes late because I tried to give you time, and then I played a commercial. I played one of those Sergeant Snafu cartoons because
Great. Where are we live on?
the filler. Yeah.
Okay. Let me look it up. Let me share it real quick. What's going on, man? How are you?
It's been an interesting couple weeks, and boy, is there a lot to talk about. I'll tell you one thing. While you're doing that, one of the things that caught my attention that I think got overshadowed in the fast food world, because there was that big story about Wendy's thinking about doing like flex pricing.
I didn't hear about that.
You didn't hear about that? Wendy's for about 2 days said they were going to do like a flex pricing thing and charge more for food at peak hours than at like slow times.
Okay.
Which the people did not like, and Wendy's walked that back. But because of that story, a more interesting story to me that I think got overshadowed is apparently Subways in Canada are trying to stop having mustard available as a condiment, which strikes me as you can't run a sub shop without mustard.
Yeah, you can't, can you?
No. What are you going to put on your?
I'm all for international laws against mayonnaise, but mustard doesn't deserve that.
No, it's mustard.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm a real mayo hardliner.
You're anti-mayo?
Yeah. Always have been. I mean, I will throw I'll usually say it a couple times if I order something. Say it politely, nice little reminder after everybody else orders. By the way, sir, I don't know if you remember at the top of the order, I asked for no mayo. So just one real quick, one more. You got this, buddy. You can't screw this up. I know you can't. And then I will throw that burger in his fucking face if it has mayo on it.
What if it's a place, one of these new places where everything that's mayo or everything they call spicy aioli is just mayo with some stuff in it.
Okay, that's bullshit. Aioli mayo just went out back and came in with like a sombrero on, and we're supposed to believe he's somebody else.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look, the photo.
Few shakes of Cajun seasoning.
For the live stream, if you can see, I look like Mitch McConnell.
Well, I never seen Mitch McConnell wear a baseball hat backwards. I don't even think he knows what a baseball hat is.
It probably would have helped his image years ago.
Speaking of, Mitch McConnell says he's stepping down. This will be his last session in the Senate.
I was impressed that he put that sentence together.
Well, I think I. How old is he now? He's really old. Yeah, that.
I mean, it's 800. Well, what's 850 in tortoise years? I guess it would just be.
So that's going to start off a whole thing about who's going to replace it.
Well, you know who wants to replace him is my Senator John Cornyn.
Mm-hmm.
And
Tell me about John Cornyn.
oh boy, so much to tell. He was the guy the first day that we had statewide lockdowns for COVID. That he went to this legendary Mexican place in Austin and took a picture of the margarita with the Corona in it. And he said, I'm getting the coronavirus on Friday night. And you're like, that's fucking classy, John. Thank you.
Do you think that McConnell sees the writing on the wall and realizes that he is not going to be majority leader next term, and that's why, like, he was only holding on in the chance to go out as majority leader?
Well, that, and also, I mean, he's old, man. His whole guard is kind of gone.
Yeah. Oh no, my video started again.
Not right now, Snafu.
Not right now, Snafu. I hit the play button on my headset and it fell out.
Well, Trump won the South Carolina primary.
Yeah, he did. It was what, 60 to 40?
Yeah, in there.
I mean, that's not great numbers for him. It would have been considerably more clear if Nikki Haley had won, but those aren't great numbers for him.
She she raised $200 million and then used $2 million to attack Donald Trump. So,
Well, I mean, spending more than Donald Trump, he's got to put up all that money for the New York stuff now.
Yeah, he's running,
which he doesn't have.
No. And I saw Donald Jr. just about lose his mind in tears on Fox News going, this is so much worse for my family than anyone realizes. And everybody at Fox News is like, he's all in tears. Oh, somebody help us.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a home equity loan on my weird place in Florida.
I don't want to work.
Oh, poor me.
I noticed, you and I were talking about it some night this week. It's been interesting that Joe Biden is overperforming in these state primaries and Trump is underperforming. Now, I know Joe has to go up against the powerhouse that is Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson, the modern day mega powers.
Yeah, I got my Arizona ballot for the Democratic primary had like 7 names on it for president, and I'm like, I know 2 of these people. And if I only know 2 of these people, then ain't nobody else voting in this thing knows any of these people. Like,
and one of them was the president. So that's 6 people thinking they're going to knock the incumbent president.
Yeah, and yeah.
I saw you and I were talking, but man, I thought there was a real shift in the race this week because Joe Biden goes on Seth Meyers and absolutely is in about as good a shape as I've seen him in all year, if not.
He was funny. He was together. There wasn't any flubs.
Yeah, jokes.
Jokes. Man can still tell a joke. That's important.
And then they both showed
and the thing with the ice cream shop after, just
classic Joe.
Drag Seth around like a show dog, basically. Seth was almost a little off put by that. He's just like, whoa, why did you have to like make policy statements while I'm standing next to you looking like a schmuck? Like,
just, you got this, Joe. Have you ever seen the thing Seth does where it's called Day Drinking with Seth? And he'll take a celebrity and it's a good like 15-minute segment they'll do maybe, once a quarter. And he'll get somebody huge like Lizzo or oh man, who else did I see on it? Oh, I saw old barefoot contestant. Ina Gartner was on there one day, and they did the segment. So you go to like a local New York kind of pub place, and you just start throwing them back with Seth. and they play like you play like bar trivia, and then you have like they pick a cocktail and see who can make it better, but then you have to try the other ones. So Seth always puts like goes suicide like a little kid at Pizza Hut, like puts all the shit in it. But man, Lizzo just about drank Seth to the floor. It was pretty impressive.
I have not seen any of those. The only thing I know where Seth drinks is when he does his corrections bit, he'll always have a Negroni.
Right, that's pretty funny. I was just happy to see Seth in a suit at work again.
Yeah, he was in a suit and tie for that night. Well, it was doubled up though. It was it was the 10-year anniversary of him hosting, and President Biden was his guest. That's a big day in any TV interviewer's late night show life. You got the president and it's your 10-year anniversary. That's an impressive combo.
Nixon didn't go on Carson for Carson's 10-year anniversary,
That's right.
There's also a new Superman movie.
So they say. I don't know. My feed has been inundated with people mad about Skarsgård as the new Crow.
That picture was so fucking upsetting. I thought of you because I was like, boy, Jack's not going to.
Jack was a goth in the 90s. He's not going to appreciate any of this.
Weren't you fully expecting for them to do the full Crow makeup again?
I mean, it's like I appreciate the comparisons to Jared Leto's Joker, because it really is the same kind of like, oh, this is what the hip kids are doing. They've all got face tattoos and.
Well, that's the weird insult to there is that was the worst Joker makeup in history.
Yeah, no,
where he had like ha 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 on his face. It's like, shut the fuck up, calm down with that shit, Jared. I heard a hilarious story when I was working on Love and Death, and we were reading about Morbius being made, the cinema classic that is Morbius, and he's sick in that movie after he gets bit by whatever makes him a vampire, and apparently on set, Jared got so method that he insisted on being pushed around in a wheelchair everywhere on set, like even in the bathroom. So. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today.
No, yeah. I don't know, but if this is going to start like a remake of, if this is going to be the thing where they're just going to start remaking like the movies that I liked back in the day,
you're going to get radicalized, bro.
Huh?
This shit's going to radicalize you.
It could be. I mean, there's opportunities. It's like I say with the comic book, like some of these movies deserve to be remade, right? Like the MCU Punisher movies are way better than that Dolph Lundgren thing that came out when I was a kid,
But it was the only Punisher movie we had.
It was the only one we had. There was no choice. But where are these other, fantastic indie comics that I grew up with? Where's the Milk and Cheese movie?
Well, that'd be great. Haven't they been trying to get Spawn redone for, 20 years or something?
Probably.
And I think the deal is Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, wants to direct it, to which every studio's like, and you are. I'm waiting for the Police Academy remake, because I will I will read for anything in that movie. I can do sound effects, Jack.
For which movie?
White Winslow? I think somebody already does that bit, actually. I think Dan Soder does that bit.
I don't know.
But tackle box right fucking here. So we got a lot going on this week. Ken Paxton, get back to John Cornyn. That was a long way to get around there. Ken Paxton, I know you're familiar with the wonky eye Trumper attorney general here in my state that looks like a James Bond. Not even a bad guy, but like a bad henchman, like an inept henchman of a Bond bad guy. And he had an impeachment trial last year, and it was a big waste of time because a bunch of Republicans puffed up in the in the impeachment trial, and leading into it, they acted like they were going to turn on him, and then they did it. So he's still here, but he wants to run against John Cornyn now, and he last week called out John Cornyn on Twitter or X, or wrote it on Elon's bathroom wall or something, and said, John Cornyn's anti-gun. He's like pro-Biden. Just these crazy out of left wing attacks that anybody who's been paying attention here in Texas can firmly tell you that that's not the case. And John Cornyn tweeted back to him, because Ken Paxton still has a couple open felony insider trading cases, and all kinds of ethics and money, abuse of power shit in office. So John Cornyn tweeted back, Ken, it's going to be tough to run for Senate from prison. So.
Indeed.
John Cornyn, sick burn, John. Not that I don't love seeing Republicans beat up on each other. I do, but we all agree. I think Tim Scott is a bizarre fucking dude.
That has been a bizarre thing in Arizona politics lately, is the Republicans beating up on themselves and yet still forcing through all the most insane bills that they can possibly manage. I don't know if you're familiar with this one. The Jake. I only know him as Jake from Troll Farm, because that's what we nicknamed him.
What bill are you talking about?
Arizona SB 1279.
Is that you can shoot immigrants when they come over the border?
No, that was we're going to make Satanism illegal.
Oh,
bill.
Here comes Jack Matirko running into fucking rumble.
It was terrible, man, because the way that bill was written, there was a serious question, because the way the bill was written, it was very short. It was like 27 words. And as one of the people who spoke against it on
the bill's a fortune.
One of the people who spoke against it pointed out that in those 27 words, it violated 3 sections of the First Amendment, which is astounding. But also, because of the way it was written, it was like no, there would be no nothing put on public property that would, glorify Satan, et cetera, right? Which is like, for me, hey, I got to take my kid to the park, man. You want me to wear long sleeves in Arizona in August just because of my fucking tattoo? No. So, but that thankfully that failed on the Senate floor. It made it out of committee because the committee was 5 Republicans and 1 Democrat from Tempe.
Are you guys are a little purple than we are, right? Yeah, I mean, you guys are a little more purple than we are. You guys went for Biden last time around.
We are, but the state legislature is still very heavily Republican. However, we do have Katie Hobbs as governor. So even if this had made it past the Senate and House, it was never going to get signed into law. But they wasted time doing it anyway. And there are matching bills in Iowa and Mississippi right now.
So how does any of this close the border that they're all shitting on themselves about?
It doesn't do a thing to do that. It basically just tries to, I think it started, and I'm not sure, because you never quite know how all these bill mills work, right? But like, clearly this is because, it's popped up in 3 states now. Clearly this is something that some nonprofit some special interest thing is. They're writing the bill and they're handing it to somebody and they're saying, submit this. And so clearly somebody's behind that, and their objective seems to be.
You think that agreement happens before or after dessert shows up at Sullivan's Steakhouse?
Right. The thing that really bothers me about it is this is all because friends of the show, members of the Satanic Temple, have put a holiday monument in the Iowa State Capitol, which seemed to drive everyone nuts. And some dude from Louisiana drove up there and tackled it or whatever he did. And now he's getting charged with a hate crime. And It shouldn't be this complicated, right? This is a religion.
Lord.
You're not allowed to discriminate against religions. If you don't want their thing in the state capitol during the holidays, then don't have any holiday displays in the state capitol. Like, it's not a nobody gives.
No, remember the great line
You
from
can put
Charlie
up. You can put up. This is the thing, because right, they want to decorate for Christmas, and you're like, okay, look, we can put up a tree. Nobody cares if you put up a tree. Just we don't want crosses and.
It's I think it's the actual nativity scene that people get annoyed by these days.
The nativity scene is always the first one, because that's where, oh, okay, so if you have a nativity scene, that means that means if you're going to have a Christmas scene, you're also going to have a menorah. And by the way, on the nativity,
another thing.
And another thing, in Spain, there's a tradition in their nativities where they have a character. I'll have to look up his name. But they have a character who's off to the side in the nativity, who's just like shitting in a bucket. Where's that guy in the nativity in the U.S.?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll look it up right now.
Which isn't that like?
I'm going to find it for you.
That seems to me like the most American character to be in our nativity scenes.
Caganeer. A caganeer is a figurine depicted in the act of defecation, appearing in nativity scenes in Catalonia and neighboring areas. So
Jack, it was a really long horse ride to get to that birth. All right.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you're going to have nativities, I don't understand why we don't have the Spanish guy who's taking a deuce outside the stable. Like,
it was a long road trip to get there.
Exactly.
I was hoping with the satanic stuff that when it hit the house floor in Arizona, I was hoping it was because you like spilled some coffee on somebody at a 7-Eleven. You bumped into some Republican House member and spilled coffee on him all Larry David style. And then they were like, you know what? That's it, pal.
That's it. No, it wasn't about me. I didn't have anything to do with it. It just happened.
Anybody from that group, like.
I mean, my friends went and they spoke against it, and they were treated very rudely.
I bet. Yeah,
it was not good.
We haven't had a lot of that in Texas because we only have the legislative session for 3 months every other year. So if you're wondering why Texas doesn't get any progress going, again, that's 6 weeks every 4 years. I mean, 6 months every 4 years. Unless Abbott wants to showboat, then he'll call a special session over whatever it is he wants to flex on.
Right.
So, again, we need help down here, guys. If anybody wants to move to Texas, run for office as a Democrat, all of our good Democrats take off for good jobs in California and New York and Chicago and New Orleans, and we're left here to fend for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's sad. I like Katie Hobbs. She's kind of like the girl next door governor.
She is. She's like the librarian who got put in charge of the school. Like,
they're like, for real? This is awesome. So
the big stink there, because once Jake from Troll Farm got done failing at trying to call Satanism not a real religion, he immediately jumped onto Katie's hopeful. She's doing some spec work ahead of a possible idea to put an Amtrak line from Phoenix to Tucson, which used to exist in the 80s and 70s, and super handy for people who live here to be able to bounce from Phoenix to Tucson without having to deal with the traffic on the 10. Lot of legislative hurdles around getting something like that done. But this guy was immediately like, trains are stupid and bad. You're like, why, man? Why? What's your problem? What do you got against trains?
Hey, what do you say, Jack? Hey, keep him here. Keep him here. I mean, Joe's going to be there with Katie Hobbs cutting that ribbon on day one.
Oh, right?
I don't know. I mean, that makes so much sense. They've been trying to get any kind of high speed rail or really any kind of commuter rail done in this state since as long as I can remember my dad shitting on the Bush family, you know?
Right. And I mean, like,
They just
and
never.
there's this weird like anti-train sentiment. Like, I don't live in a state that has a movie made about it called 310 to Yuma, right? Like, trains made here.
I've been trying to pitch 310 to Yuma for Tara to watch since I met her. And it's one of those movies where like I think just the idea of it didn't catch her. And then the harder I pitched over the years, the more I was like, well, I'm definitely not watching this. And you're like, no, you got Bale and you got Russell. Come on. Yeah, that is fucking crazy. Like, that's one of the most famous Arizona movies, other than like, Raising Arizona, right?
Yeah. I mean, there aren't too many Arizona movies.
There are a lot of good ones. I think. Well, is it Stir Crazy? Is that in Arizona with Pryor and
Is
Chihuahua
it?
prison?
I don't know. The Circle K scene at Bill and Ted was shot at what
Oh,
used the that was shot at the Circle K that I used to go to at my old house.
that's cool. So, like, when you saw it, were you like, hell yeah?
I mean, I saw it when I was a kid, and then I moved out, and then
Oh,
I found out like there was a day where I was just like, "Oh, this is that Circle K."
it
Like
was.
George Carlin was standing right over there.
I was gonna say you didn't realize it until that phone booth landed, and you're like, oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh yeah, that is this parking lot. Oh yeah.
And Carlin, I imagine Carlin was a big part of how they got that made.
Oh, certainly.
Rufus just saving the world with these stoners. You know, they never said Bill and Ted were stoners specifically. I think we all got the vibe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's the way they never said that in the 80s, right? There was a this is just California.
I ordered
This is just
for
how
Christmas
LA is.
or sometime around my birthday. I had some birthday money and I got online and ordered some like old school like vintage movie t-shirts. So I got myself like Callahan Auto Parts and Stark Industries, that same one everybody has. Got in that nice soft cotton shirt you can sleep in, like just wearing that like a baby with no bottoms on. And and I ordered Tara that classic Wild Stallions red with the yellow font. So that ties into the other thing. So
Yeah. All right, so I don't know. Where do you want to start taking a bite into politics? We got
you lead the way.
we got the Supreme Court saying they're gonna hear Trump's immunity claim in 6.5 weeks after spending 2 weeks deciding whether they were going to take it or not. Basically, a 9 week delay for the guy on this crap.
How come Jenny Thomas isn't in more trouble?
You would think.
So, folks, if you're watching this and you're not aware, because you probably have lives and you're trying to feed your kids and get to work and battle traffic. Clarence Thomas, probably the biggest dickhead on the Supreme Court, but boy, that's a tough call. Neil Gorsuch is rocking around there too. His wife was a big player in organizing the January 6th invasion. I don't want to call it anything other than what it was. It was a Confederate invasion on the Capitol, MAGA style. If you haven't seen 4 Hours on HBO, watch it. Get your tissues ready. I mean, I watched it 2 nights back to back. I watched it one night, then I watched it with Tara, and then last night I even watched it with my buddy John. He's an actor from Walker. But what's fascinating is I feel like I saw that January 6th stuff and kind of really understood, but this is a lot of the footage that the January 6th committee had classified up through the January 6th hearings, so it couldn't be fucked with or, cut up or whatever. So they gave it to HBO, bought it because it was all the footage of what was going to be a BBC film. So here's this BBC documentary guy who comes over just to like, hey, we'll just make a documentary, see what happens today.
So that guy is a contender to be the new Robert Frost if he can land a Trump interview.
Oh, dude, man. So God, I love Frost Nixon. But so anyways, Jenny Thomas was a big player in that, and we now have receipts that she helped fund these guys getting there and helping Proud Boys pay for plane tickets or whatever.
Right. And this is money that she wouldn't have if her husband wasn't getting lavish gifts from Crow, Harlan Crow.
You know what I thought was fascinating?
Who I picture having the evil guy mustache, right? Like, I know he doesn't, but I feel like he does. My headcanon, he does.
But I think that January 6th documentary should be played in every public school government class, because when you see it and you see how close we were.
I think there's a lot of good stuff out of PBS Frontline documentaries have covered this all extensively. Terry Gross this week just did an entire episode on Christian nationalism with a guy who used to be and has seen the error of his ways after getting outside of his little bubble.
And Pelosi's daughter did a great one. She's a documentary director, producer, writer. And she's done a bunch of great ones over the years. Journeys with George, which is, you show how moderate and just really harmless this dude is, hanging out with Pelosi's daughter one-on-one through the primary up until he picks Dick Cheney as his running mate, and then there's no longer access to George.
Right.
And Pelosi's like, what happened to my buddy? We used to ride on the plane every day together and eat lunch, and all of a sudden, anyways, her new one is called The Insurrectionist Next Door. So instead of being there and covering the battle and the battle for the tunnel is what the final showdown's called. Pelosi went and visited these folks months after they'd either been arrested or getting ready to go to court. And that's a fascinating one, Jack, because everybody's like, every single one of these people, guys, there's like one 21-year-old girl, poor thing, just dumb as rocks. Every one of them, to some extent, is going, I was just following the crowd. And they show the footage of the person, and they're all bashing in windows and, taking a mask off a cop. And God, you're like, following the crowd. And they're all chanting, they're all chanting, kill Pelosi. Where's Nancy? And Alex Pelosi goes, would you have recognized my mom if you would have run into her? And 9 times out of 10, they go, I had to look her up when I got home after being arraigned.
Well, that's cults are gonna cult, man.
Cults are gonna,
and it cult. Is at this point. It is at this point, man. There's no way around that.
It's a weird cross between a cult and a terrorist organization.
They're buying his gold sneakers.
Boy, that is the biggest scam in history. Also, the most racist, biggest scam in history.
I don't think it's. His marketing of it was racist, but I don't think a whole lot of black people bought those shoes.
I think that any black folk who did buy them are putting them straight on eBay and make some honky money. Because now Terry explained to me right now there were like certain number of prototypes at that sneaker con deal. Wear my sneaker heads. I love wearing sneakers even though I never have owned a pair. There he is. Look at that guy with his Michael.
It's true. You'd think, if you're stumping for a pair of sneakers, you got to wear the sneakers, right? Like,
come out at them, right?
Huh?
You have to come out on stage with them on.
Yeah, he should wear them. He should wear them to the debate with Biden.
That's probably the bone spur.
Well, hey, if his shoes don't have good art support, that's on him.
I mean, you designed them, asshole.
Pretty much.
Anyway, so there's a certain amount of prototypes that are on the market, like that crazy guy that you see who bought a pair and looks like jerking off in them, sleeping with them. Uh, but everybody else had to drop $900 for a reservation for them. So this is
Oh,
just
was
a
that pre-sale? Oh,
resale, which means that money's
tacky.
going straight
Straight to
from these
China.
morons. No,
Straight to
straight to
China.
lawyers. Straight to lawyers, and then we let the kids at the sweatshop have the day off because we were never going to make these shoes anyway.
Oh, like a failed Kickstarter project.
Yeah, but knowingly know it's illegal and you're funneling money to lawyer fees.
Yeah, well, he does have a substantial amount of lawyer fees
I'm surprised that the dummy
and fines.
are charging him so much. His legal team's down to some jokers.
I mean, I guess if you figure, well, there's only a 50-50 shot he's going to pay us anyway. It's probably one of those like, we know he's only going to pay us a certain percentage of what we like. They're doing like a barter thing in their head where we're just like, we're only going to get 20% of what we send him for the bill. So we're going to make the bill 80% bigger. So we get what our actual fee is supposed to be, kind of situation.
They're
Yeah.
also still probably dumb enough. They're dumb enough right now who we're down to that they're thinking, hey, maybe I'll get a book deal out of this. When really they may end up in prison after this.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing about that book deal is you would have, in order for that book to be worth a damn to any publisher, is you'd have to like break lawyer client confidentiality, which
Yeah,
you're not allowed to
yeah.
do.
Yeah, he wore a diaper.
Yeah.
Y'all want to hear about it? But it's a real mess, and I'm so frustrated with Jon Stewart got a lot of shit a couple weeks ago because he made fun of Biden's age. He didn't come at Biden that crazy hard. He didn't play like a highlight reel of him stumbling and stammering and like rolling down stairs like Gerald Ford. He made a couple jokes about his age and about the bigger picture here of how old our candidates are. And then he had a lot of reactionary liberals come out and go, oh, he's doing both sides. He's doing both sides of the same. And you're like, no, he did an extensive segment on Trump and those issues that made it clear that what Trump is doing is much worse. It's just Joe's just old, Jack. Come on. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I feel like Jon Stewart got a rough response on that.
yeah, and I think that was a little. I mean, this kind of plays to Jon Stewart's constant "I'm a comedian, not a news guy"
Which is a
shtick, where he's just like, it is my job to poke fun at how absurd all of it is, and there's already a stigma that he is, the elite Jewish liberal media, and as far as MAGA is concerned, the only reason that he's famous is because he's a Jew from New York, right? Like they really don't care about how long he's been doing this. They haven't been watching his interviews since he was on MTV talking to Carlin, like.
Man, the old Jon Stewart show was so metal.
It was at the end, man. That last week when he found out he was getting canceled, and he's just like, "All right, fine. I'm going to have Manson. I'm going to have Slayer."
Really on that original show?
Yeah. The week he found out he was getting canceled, he just went nuts. It was glorious.
So fucking cool. And then on the Daily Show, he had Bruce play Thunder Road on his last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying pretty dope. And then his
I mean, that's a New Jersey boy. What else are you gonna do, right?
stew beef, gonna stew beef, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it.
I feel like by the end of this election cycle, Jon Stewart may be hosting full time again.
I don't know. I mean, he's doing the Rachel Maddow thing where he's only on Mondays. Like they set that up very much the same way.
My Mondays are looking a lot different these days because we wrap up Monday Night Raw and we go straight to Jon Stewart. So all of the dumbing down that we get through WWE, we then get back watching John right afterwards.
Interesting.
You know, you gotta have, maybe I'm eating my dessert before my vegetables, but it all gets consumed.
I suppose. I suppose. It is heartening that he's back on cable news and not on Apple Plus, which nobody watches anymore anyway.
You know why they fired him?
Although I'll tell you, just in a pop culture discussion in general, right? Apple TV Plus, Slow Horses, excellent show, fantastic.
What is it?
It's all an MI5 crime drama thing about this little team of rejects in MI5 who live in the shit, who work out of the shittiest office, and they've got this drunken alcoholic chain smoking supervisor, and it's awesome.
But I don't have Apple Plus. I just realized.
I'm sorry, because it's one of those things you would really appreciate.
No, I like it. It sounds like Bad News Bears, but or Expendables, but MI5.
Yeah, and the drunken chain smoking supervisor, Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman.
My God. God!
So good.
That's who I cast as playing you in your biopic.
He could do it too, because he can do anything. The man is.
He could play both of us in a remake of this call.
Yeah, the man's a chameleon. He's so good.
But sometimes when you give a little boy a jacket, someday he's going to come back and return the favor and save the city. Have you seen?
So yeah, it's just him chewing scenery as this just beat down. So he's late 50s, early 60s guy who's just been in this bureaucratic nightmare of MI5 forever, and he's just this old, worn-out spy who knows too much about everything. And he's got these kids who are all just like, "Yeah, let's go solve the crime." And he's like, "Well, hold on."
Is there a vibe of like he may or may not used to have been James Bond or that high up?
Yeah, it's got that. You don't know what went wrong in his life, other than like at some point you suspect he probably had to kill his best friend or something, like
partner or something.
And he's just broken, yeah. And so he's got all these kids who all these new spy kids who are totally screwed up and living their own dramas, and he's just like, "You guys are thick as pig shit. You're never gonna get this." It's so good. It's an amazing show.
I have to find it somewhere.
If you liked, I don't know what other BBC stuff you've seen, but if you like, State of Play or House of Cards or that kind of thing, you like Slow Horses.
I like my House of Cards stars to be grabbing random young men's dicks. So these colors.
That's what you get for watching. That's what you get for watching the American one.
Man, I remember how hard everybody at the consulting firm I was working at, the campaign consulting firm I was working at, was so gassed up for House of Cards. And then by the time Spacey leaves, even though he's in trouble, people are like, "I don't want to watch this without him. We know he's a bad guy, but he kills it." But, he's in trial. You can't do that. You can't just go around grabbing young dicks.
That's right. You can't. Or pussies.
Or any pussies of any age. I haven't seen Peaky Blinders. Have you seen? I don't think we've talked about Oppenheimer.
We haven't talked about Oppenheimer. I seem to remember there was a Oppenheimer themed mini series that came out a couple of years ago that I thought was really good. So I thought the movie was a little redundant, but I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I think on a whole, I liked, out of the Barbenheimer thing, I liked Barbie better than I liked Oppenheimer, just in terms of what's a more fun movie.
Well, I mean, it's a tough choice that last summer during the strike when nothing's coming out. The last two movies that come out are we turn the guy who made the nuclear bomb into a sex symbol, and then you've got Barbie escapes from Barbie Land. And I mean, talk about a Sophie's Choice on like a July Saturday. I liked Barbie. I was really surprised how much I liked Barbie. I don't know why Will Ferrell was there, other than to just yell and run. Uh,
Yeah.
but Gosling's about to win the Oscar for it. Apparently, it's him or RDJ, right?
I guess. Oh, what's his name from American Fiction? Or American Fiction's up for Best Picture too, which
And
I thought was really good and totally underrated. I thought it was a great movie. But
uh,
I say that as somebody who has been a struggling writer and understands, like, because there's that weird thing when I'm watching that movie where he sits down and he writes this stereotypically gangsta black book, and it explodes after his entire trying to be a legitimate writer thing.
like nobody wants to see
And
stuff. They want him to
and
do.
nobody wants to. Well, that's the same as sales on this book. Like if this was like some skeezy tell-all that was just like, oh, here's all the who fucked who's in TSD, then this book would sell crazy, right? But it's not. It's all about law stuff, and nobody gives a shit.
Oh man, it's crazy. Trump really liked American Fiction because he in his mind, the no black guy would ever succeed at anything.
I'll tell you, we've talked about this before too, because Jeffrey Wright's in that movie, and Jeffrey Wright is, first of all, first black Batman. Because if you haven't listened to Batman: The Audio Adventures, it's amazing and he kills it.
I'm telling you, just take that. I told you, I texted you this the other night. They should just take that and just animate it.
It'd be great. It'd be great.
It's done. We just need to call in the art guys and let's do this.
Yeah. But also he's like in American Fiction, super, super good, super believable as a ticked off academic black writer who's pissed about how the publishing industry treats tone and experience.
When he writes the gangster book, is it just like a fuck you to like, this is what you think you want? Like,
yes, that's exactly what he does. And then it blows up, and he writes it under a pen name, and he has to like do interviews behind this shade and like pretend to be and pretend to be all gangsta and
yeah, man.
And meanwhile, he's like, he's like an Ivy School educated. He teaches at a college. He's on all these literary review boards and stuff. And he's just like, this is dumb.
I was movies in the works right now. I heard something really interesting about Tarantino's last movie is supposed to release next year, the 10th movie that we've all been waiting for. And it's called The Movie Critic. And everybody assumed it would be about some power player movie critic, and everyone's trying to kiss the ring and get on their good side and everything. But it leaked, and you never know about stuff like this, but it made a lot of sense to me. Somebody at a party talked to Quentin somewhere. Don't worry, guys, I'm not gonna ruin your day and do my Quentin. But when he worked at that porn store when he was underage, he would always reserve a copy of like this awful smut magazine in the 80s, early 80s. And everybody, even the dirtbags at the porn store were like, why are you the only one buying this? Why are you into that? And he goes, believe it or not, I read it for the movie reviews. And they go, well, who's the critic? And he goes, it's this old stuntman. And he just watches stuff I watch. He watches like B movies, and he watches like the fun stuff, and I just love his takes. So the word is it's going to be Brad Pitt's character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a stuntman, and he has now broken up with his bromance Leo after they saved what's her name with Manson murders. And now he has told Leo, I can't do this with you anymore. So he becomes the movie reviewer in the porn magazine.
I
kind of like
that. And so it's this story of how this aging stuntman who can't do stunts anymore ekes out a living writing movie reviews for a porn magazine.
I kind of like that, and
I mean, like
it's as Tarantino as it gets.
I mean, okay, I guess.
Are you a big Tarantino guy? My Tarantino loyalty was kind of breached the other day when I had lunch a couple weeks ago in Dallas, or dinner with a
I
mentor of mine, a guy named Jason Stanford, who ran that consulting shop I worked for. And we started talking movies, and he goes, "Why do we always have to see a woman get the shit beat out of her?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, that tracks, and that bums me
kind
out."
of the stuff that he always does in his movie. Well, I mean, I don't know. I I like Tarantino movies. I thought Kill Bill was great. I thought Reservoir Dogs was really really good. I like Tarantino's even what was it, Dust Till Dawn, right? Like I like Tarantino's approach. I like his pacing. I like his cinematography. I like what
Soundtracks are always money.
soundtracks are always good. They're not the movies that I naturally gravitate to in the sense that I'm way more of a uh Terry Gilliam kind of guy, I I want to watch Brazil, I want to watch Fisher King, I want to watch
Some a little
Zero
smarter.
Theorem.
Yeah.
Some a little smarter, and I I don't know if there's definitely something there with the camera work, right? Like Tarantino always has those straight on headshot, quick movement, jump cut things. With Terry Gilliam, we've always got those long, slow tracking scenes that are shot from camera about here, and everything's kind of up, and
Look it up at it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's all real dramatic, and it's all everybody chewing. Like Robin Williams and Fisher King is probably one of the most amazing portrait, one of the most amazing things that's ever been shot.
That movie's so underrated.
It's a fantastic film.
But hang on, you vamp. I gotta grab some real quick. Go ahead. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Just vamp, Jack. Just vamp. Sam has left me here alone, folks. So I'm going to plug my books again. If you really want to help out this channel, you can go to Amazon and buy any of these, or you can go to patreon.com/Jack Matirko and join my Patreon, and that would be a big help too. You can always do that. Also, not pictured here is if you go on Amazon, if you're a Kindle user, I've got a little chapbook called the Miskatonic University Beginner's Guide to Old Ones Yoga that you can pick up. That one's only $3, so that one helps me out a lot because it was written a long time ago. So the cost benefit analysis is really nice on that one too. But any of these, feel free. All right, go ahead.
No, don't. No, they're not free. You have to pay for them.
No. I said feel free. Yes, feel free to buy them. You cannot.
Okay. Just trying to make sure nobody's looking for handouts over here. We're not. What am I, Jimmy Carter, just handing out your stuff?
Most of the stuff in this book already got kicked off the internet once.
Why?
Well, because the website I was writing for basically changed their policies, and we all left, and then they took down all the content. So this is the only place you can really
find all those essays.
Due to what we call in the industry a whole bunch of legal crap, the best way to get it and help me is to buy the book.
Absolutely. It's not, the older I get, the more I realize I don't think I have the attention span to write a book. And there's so many stories that I would love to get down. But man, it's just, I respect the hell out of you, because just writing a book, much less multiple books, it's a lot of work.
It is. It's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot. Well,
So
this is actually pertinent to that reminds me of a pertinent story that actually happened in Dallas Fort Worth, I believe, where the crew of people who were subcontracted by Alphabet to run YouTube Music.
Right.
They were trying to do some contract negotiations, and Alphabet was not listening to them. They were, because this is one of those situations where you know how these big companies now, rather than just hire an IT division for something, they will spin off a small company and then subcontract to that company, so that company doesn't have the big business thresholds for benefits and whatnot.
It's usually their own people pushed into that company.
Yeah, it's basically like, you work for this sub corporation now. You work for this subcontractor now, but you're doing the exact same job you were doing before. So that happened, and their contract was due. They were doing negotiations. Alphabet wasn't listening, and these group of folks, they went to the DFW city council meeting and were like, hey, we would really like it. They're like, our entire team is here. They're not treating us right. We would like the city to help us out a little. And while they were at the city council meeting giving their testimony, they were all laid off. Like, they just laid off the whole chunk of them.
Somebody was watching that city council meeting on streaming on that little
It
local.
was basically like, if you try and push this, we're gonna fuck y'all. And now they'll just hire new people.
I mean,
and that sucks.
It does.
And there need and I bring that up because we are streaming this to YouTube, and it's not like YouTube makes it particularly easy to monetize either. Go smash that like and subscribe button, folks, because if we get enough of those, then maybe there's a chance to maybe monetize. But until then, the bucks, the Patreon, hey, go help us out,
$3, come on. That's less than a Starbucks. Come on, people.
Yeah, and that gets weird too. There's nothing worse than having to, you're hitting up your friends and being like, hey, this is what I'm working on. And they're just like, I mean, like, $5 a month for Patreon. I mean, I don't even know about Paramount Plus. And I'm just like, yeah, but I'm not some faceless corporation.
Right, but me, and Coster's an asshole.
Yeah, and I only need like a few hundred of you to really keep this going all the time. So,
and you're not, blowing Jules back out.
Right.
Not, I don't mean that like an insult. It's like, really, Jewel now? Really, Coster? Not Jewel like 1998? Jewel now? All right.
I don't know if I have an opinion on that.
That's fine. It's fine. We'll move right along. How many shows can Taylor Sheridan actually run while they still stay high quality? Because I've worked on a couple, and they are all over the place.
Taylor Sheridan. Which shows are we talking
Yellowstone, 1923, 1980, 1883, 1903, Bass Reeves, Tulsa King. That whole Yellowstone universe. That's all him.
Well, I mean, I suppose it depends on how much gets farmed out to the people below him, right?
I mean, I think he's making so much money and being the only thing making money on Paramount Plus that Paramount Plus is happy to go. What do you want to do?
I don't know about that. I feel like the Star Trek stuff's got to be.
I think those are the two money makers. Well, you're a big Star Trek guy. I want to talk to you about this. There's he's a critic personality. His name's Robert Meyer Burnett. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a big Trek guy. I think he briefly worked on Next Generation, like when he was maybe like 25 or something. All he does is rag on the current state of Star Trek.
What is it? What is his problem with the current state of Star Trek?
That they're ruining it, and they're not following the mythos, and that they're watering it down, and they're losing sight of what Star Trek's supposed to be. And Tara and I watched a good bit of Star Trek Discovery, and we thought it was really fucking fun.
He says it's not what Star Trek's supposed to be. How? Like it's not. It's not pushing.
That like the messages they're not hitting like the original lore, and they're not. That they're Disneyifying.
I mean, I think that's a little fan servicey to ask for at this point, right? Like, I mean, we had the great divide between the people who grew up with the original series and the people who grew up with the next generation. And then there's us Gen Xers who like the DS9, but like, which thoroughly sums up the Gen X experience, right? Because it's a shitty station out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody listens to them. Nobody cares. DS9 really sums up the Gen X experience very well.
was Deep Space Nine? Was that Benjamin Sisko?
Benjamin Sisko, but right? Like if you're a Gen X in today's political environment, you're O'Brien. You're the one doing all the work that nobody cares about. Like,
and why'd the black guy have the shittiest fucking base?
But also, he got to be a god at the end. Like by the end of it, he's like, I'm legitimately a cosmic entity.
What?
So,
that's how it ended?
Huh?
That's how Deep Space Nine ended. I checked out. I was 14. I checked out very.
Oh quickly. Yeah, he was like the one that was prophesized to come, and like there's a whole. It gets real religious and kind of weird. Yeah.
Then what was the other one?
Exactly, and that was. I'll tell you what, man. When he came out in that tan suit, if Obama had like this look. Because like that's what Sisko did, shaved his head, grew in the mustache goatee. If Obama had done that, everybody would have been clamoring for a third term. He was
for the universe, not just for us.
Yeah.
Tara and I joke around a lot, and it's a regular catchphrase around our home about the SNL bit when Shatner's at the Star Trek convention.
Oh yeah.
Get a life, you people.
Have you ever kissed a girl?
Have you even ever kissed a girl? What does that have to do with anything, Mr. Shatner? My God, you young men, get a life. It was 3 seasons of a show I took for a job and a paycheck. Shatner did it the new He-Man show.
Did he?
With
I thought that was Kevin Smith.
No, yeah. Kevin Smith made it, but Shatner did it. He's a voice of like the bad guy above Skeletor now.
Oh, really?
The animal is Skeletor, and then Shatner's like whoever's above. And I don't think he ever saw in the cartoons. So yeah, you brought those guys in. Shatner's like 100.
Yeah, but I mean, I imagine if you're in his position, right? Like you get like, I'm kind of bored. The kids are away. Somebody wants me to do a couple days of voiceover for scale. I'll take it. Yeah.
You got to think Shatner's kids have to be 60. Yeah, they're away. They're raising grandchildren.
Yeah, so it's not like he's just staying busy. You can't fault him for like that. What was that? That Has Been album that he put out. That was fun. Yeah, the one that Ben Folds produced.
Yeah.
And there's that awesome track with him and Henry Rollins, and I'm like, this is great. I'll listen to this.
It's just fun, man. I think we get too wrapped up. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you. You were talking about your friends not being like $5 for Patreon with the amazing fucking guests you get on. Like, yeah, $5 for Patreon.
Yeah, $5 for Patreon. Speaking of, I'm taping tomorrow for this for next week's episode with Nathan Timmel, comedian Nathan Timmel.
Very funny guy. I watched.
Good friend, known him a long time. I'm sure we're going to have some interesting stuff to talk about because he's in Iowa and I'm in Arizona, and there are some political things that we can probably get into. He's got a new special out, very funny. Go check that out. It's on the YouTubes.
But what? Where you hit me right in the heartstrings, and those heartstrings are very thin these days. I can't get friends of mine to watch anything I do. You know what I mean? I can't get my fucking mom to watch, my brothers to watch stuff I do. I was like, I know I was cut out of Iron Claw, and you only get like this much of me that was left in it. I got the greatest talent, Jack, of getting cut out after shooting some dope scenes on set. I'm like, there's no way me beating Brutus Brody in Blackjack doesn't make the final cut. But I go fucking watch Iron Claw either way. It's a great movie, and good news. Family and friends, you won't even realize I'm there. Have you seen Iron Claw yet?
I haven't, no.
It's a wait till it's on demand for or on streaming for free. But it's not near as sad as everybody makes it out to be.
I'm sure it's not.
Which is which should have been on the poster. Not near as sad as everybody tells you it is. So I want to talk pop culture movies for a minute. Who's playing? That's all I ever talk about. The Superman movie. So this is our first actor who's openly gay that's ever played Superman.
Okay.
Now comes.
But I mean, acting is acting. Doesn't really matter.
Yes, I'm with you.
The question that will or will not drive the MAGA people nuts is, are they going to like replace Lois with Lois Lane? Like if it's Superman and Lois Lane, they'll flip their shit.
It's Superman and Lois, not Superman and Lois, or the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Not Adam and Eve, Adam, Steve, whatever. I've played gay characters, not just around my home.
I'll tell you what. I guarantee you, if we went on to some fantasy fiction boards or DeviantArt or something, I guarantee you we can find people who have fully developed Lois Lane as a character. I guarantee it.
So new Lois Lane is going to be Miss Maisel.
Okay, sure. I can see her as Lois Lane. Why not?
So I guess James Gunn is directing and producing and wrote it. Nathan Fillion is Green Lantern.
Fine choice. That should have happened a long time ago.
You're like, hey, 1998. Well, thanks for showing up. And then you have. Did you watch Barry?
I haven't watched Barry, but I'm aware.
First of all, you would absolutely love Barry. He's a Marine sniper turned hitman, and then stumbles into an acting class, kind of like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and he gets bit by the bug. And his acting teacher is Henry Winkler. But okay.
That's fun too.
So who else was in it? The guy from The Wire who's on Jack Ryan. He's going to be Perry White. Second black Perry White we'd have in a row. Lawrence Fishburne played him. And then you have the kid from the new National Lampoon Vacation with Ed Helms playing Jimmy Olsen.
Ed Helms playing Jimmy Olsen?
No, the kid that played Ed Helms' son.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
But, yes, you beat me to the point of when this movie comes out in a year, are they going to have to fight Midwest box office numbers because Fox News is going, a gay Superman? Because he's going to bring
it's not like anybody gave a crap when it was a British Superman.
Those Brits took a lot of good superhero jobs from us hardworking Americans, Jack.
That's true.
But I think it'll probably have a great soundtrack. It's James Gunn. It was going to be called Superman Legacy, and then at the 11th hour, he goes, "Nobody's going to get that," so it's just Superman. So that's
Okay. I mean, as long as it just jumps in, I do not want the first hour of this movie to be another rehash of Superman's origin story. We all know who Superman is. You don't have to do it again. Stop doing it with Superman, stop doing it with Spider-Man, stop doing it with Batman.
Yes.
We all know who those characters are. You can just jump right into the story at this point. We don't need an intro.
There are grandparents who take their grandchildren to these movies and go, "I know Bruce's parents got murdered. Let's go."
Yeah, you want to do the whole, origin story thing, do it at the beginning like the Hulk TV show. It takes a minute. We all know. We don't need it again, okay?
So apparently they're going to kick in, and they found an old train station in Cincinnati that looks just like the Hall of Justice, but it's red brick. So they're going to CGI over it and make it the Hall of Justice.
So they're doing Super Friends?
Well, they're doing Justice Society, and Superman is starting to kick ass anybody, and then he meets Green Lantern, and Green Lantern's like, "Why don't you stop by my office? Let me introduce you to some people."
Okay, so if they're gonna do JSA, okay, all right. I mean, I'm always willing to give DC another shot, even though sometimes
they've heard
it feels like that. That feels like being a Mets fan sometimes, but yeah, okay, exactly.
But no, apparently he just jumps right into it, and I think who's going to come out on top of this is Miss Maisel. I think she'll be a very witty, cool Lois Lane,
Yeah, but the problem is that if you're going to see a superhero movie, you're not going to see it for that,
But Superman and Lois, I mean, it's peanut butter and jelly.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's still like, I don't know, man. It's kind of
also
two separate things at this point.
What's her name? Who plays Miss Maisel? I can't think of her name. She smokes 2 less cartons a day of cigarettes than Margot Kidder did.
Well, that's okay.
Remember when Margot Kidder's chain smoking, making orange juice in Superman the movie?
Oh yeah.
First time I was ever really heartbroken as a child is when Superman became paralyzed, and I was like, "Nothing means nothing, guys. There's nothing to hope for in this world." Superman's at the Oscars, like worse off than Stephen Hawking. That broke my heart.
He still did Rear Window after that.
He did. He had a great scene in Rear Window.
It was kind of one of the few roles that were open for him at that point. But
so let's do our 70s Marvel casting.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. We talked about how we would cast X-Men for. All right. Well, okay. First of all, you're gonna have to give me a second. I'm gonna need to take because we've been on for an hour and a half now. Huh?
You think I can't vamp?
Yeah, you're gonna have to vamp for a minute, okay?
I got you.
All right, so you vamp for a minute. I'll be right back.
All right, Jack's gonna step away for a minute. We got you covered. This is Weirdos in Pursuit. If you're just now tuning in live on the live stream, it's myself, Sam Slade, and Jack Matirko. We've been talking politics and a lot of pulp culture because a lot of politics, a lot of issues being talked about on the campaign trail in 2024 are very much intertwined in the last couple of years of superhero movies, whether it's the Republicans fighting against diversity or the Democrats pushing for more diversity. I mean, you watch that portal scene in Avengers Endgame, and I don't think you could ever find a more diverse team of folks trying to save the world. I could watch that over and over. If you haven't seen it, there's a thing on YouTube. It's called Soul of America. And they have made Thanos into Trump. Cap is Joe Biden. And, the rest of their teams are filled out with people from both sides of the political world. And man, I cannot watch it without ending up crying. Jack, I was just talking about there's a thing on YouTube called America or something. America Endgame is what it's called, and it came out on the eve of the special election after Joe won, and some ninth grader took that last scene in Endgame and photoshopped Trump in as Thanos and Cap as Joe and Hunter is Thor, and you just go down the list, and all the Thanos cronies are right wingers that you see, and it's just so well done. Obama's Black Panther tracks; it just tracks. But man, the way they do it, and anytime things are feeling really, really on edge, boy, that'll hit you like a ton of bricks. I was just saying, I can't watch it. Tara and I end up crying every time we see it.
Oh yeah.
Warnock is Doctor Strange. Or no, maybe Bernie's Doctor Strange. Beto is Star-Lord.
Who's Tony?
Oh, I don't like the Tony pick because they didn't know he was like a bad guy yet. It's Elon Musk.
Oh, wow.
But in the last snap scene for Tony, it opens and it's Chadwick Boseman, who had just passed when they put this out.
Touching.
So that's
touching.
Kind of fun. But no, I guess I was just I'm dreading when the Superman movie comes out because I know I'm going to be so gassed up for it. And yet all the coverage is going to be, does America want a gay Superman? You're like, he's not. Superman's not gay. He's an actor playing a
character. Yeah, that's going to be a thing. You're probably right.
It will no doubt be a thing. And the thing is, I think if this Superman movie doesn't work, can we allow ourselves to be hurt by DC again, Jack? I'll keep texting her. I'm stupid like that.
I mean, I'll always end up giving them another shot with the characters that I really, really like. Oh, that's another thing. Speaking of comics, though, EC Comics is going to make a comeback. We're going to get some new horror comics. You know, cool. Witching Hour, Tales from the Crypt. Like EC Comics, it for people who don't remember comics way back in the day. Back in the day, there were comics of all kinds. It wasn't just superheroes. It wasn't just capes. There was actions and dramas and horror stuff. In particular, was done by this comic company called EC Comics, which is also where we got Mad Magazine from. Because when I can't remember his name, but the guy who took a stance against comics and how they're bad for kids. Wortham.
Signed up on like the National Comic Authority Board or whatever.
Yeah, and started the Comics Authority Code, which started policing stuff, which is how you got all the campy superhero stuff, because they weren't allowed to show anybody dying, they weren't allowed to show excessive violence, they weren't allowed to show this and that and the other thing, and it got all very censored real fast. And so EC Comics took a big hit because all of their horror stuff was obviously graphically violent because it was monsters killing people and stuff. You know, like Tales from the Crypt was EC Comics.
And this is what early 70s, right? Like this is
so it was really gory, and so to avoid the Comics Authority Code, the one thing they did, they had Magazine, or they had Mad already, and they spun it into a magazine so it wouldn't count as a comic book. Which is the only way.
Oh, wait, so was Mad like maybe like the last little extra thing at the back of these comics?
No, Mad was its own title, but it was in a comic book format until they spun it into a magazine format just to avoid the Comics Authority Code, which is why Mad is the only thing from that survives. But now, apparently, EC Comics coming back. They're going to start doing some more horror comics, and I'm psyched for that. I'm not going to lie, because I love those books.
I think we can.
I think we need. I think we need to start doing the same thing for short stories too. I want to bring back Weird Tales. I want to bring back Fantastic Stories of the Imagination. I want to bring back all these books that are none of you young people have heard of that are really good.
But wait, I'm shocked that there hasn't been a Tales from the Crypt reboot yet.
No, well, that is has to be firmly Warner's decision, right?
Really? They bought all the rights when they made the TV show?
Well, Warner made the TV. Well, okay, so my understanding about how it all worked. Well, I guess the TV show was HBO, right?
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt, the TV show was HBO. But then there
Oh,
was the
so
movies.
Crypt Keeper is now going to be on Thousand Pound Sisters since David Zaslav owns HBO. That's going to be weird. That shit the TV show used to scare the fuck out of me.
I always thought it was just camp. That nothing about that show scared me because it was, but it was great. I loved it. It was.
I checked out after the Christmas episode when he was dressed like Santa Claus.
I have that album.
The way he's on the cover, right?
The Crypt Keeper holiday album. Yeah. They did a whole Christmas album with him.
It's so fucking wild. Like that was back when people were doing cocaine in these meetings, right?
Oh, absolutely. Allegedly.
Allegedly. We don't want to get in trouble from guys who are dead. Some cleaned up, some got the good heart surgery. They're now youth ministers somewhere. Turned it around, saw the light.
So you were talking about we had talked about this the other day. Fantasy picks for an X-Men 70s cast,
or even Marvel, just the Avengers 2. Yeah, but like the height of the 70s, because I think based on our generational differences, your casting is going to be much more of the time, whereas mine will probably be, based on shit I watched from.
Well, we did talk. One of the jokes that immediately came to mind was, it's X-Men Days of Future Past, and it's all the cast of Soap, which I think would be really like, all right, like I mean, because the first one that comes to mind is Billy Crystal as Wolverine, because that would just be hilarious.
Oscars. Oh, see, because you're going fun the way a 70s movie would have been made, all campy. And I immediately go James Brolin.
It would have been Richard Mulligan as old Cyclops. Come on.
Remind me who Richard Mulligan is. My phone's dead.
Remember Empty Nest?
Yeah, the dad?
Yeah.
Okay, he was fucking hilarious.
As old Cyclops.
That's pretty good, dude. That's funny. See him with the visor and the sunglasses and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Catherine Hellman, Mona from Who's the Boss, right?
As
Phoenix.
Mona.
Old Phoenix.
Mona, you gotta come down.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. And I mean, Robert Guillaume is Professor X. I think that's a solid choice.
No, that's not even a joke. That's just good casting.
He'd be good.
But you have to have Tony Danza as Nightwing, as Nightcrawler.
Okay.
No, see, you went like real casting of like what they would have actually been willing to spend money on. And my bullshit's like, and Ned Beatty's the Hulk.
Yeah, but we're casting 70s X-Men with like
70s actors,
modern,
right?
like if we're casting with 70s actors, that's my go-to list. If we're casting with like present day, I mean,
no. I said Ned Beatty's been dead for years, Jack.
Okay, so this is just an all-time fantasy situation.
It was Ned. I thought Ned Beatty was in Deliverance in the.
I'm
70s.
just unclear on the rules, Sam.
Ned Beatty worked in the 70s. By God.
Okay.
Ned Beatty was in not Warren, the unrelated Ned, short for Nedithan Beatty. And he remember he was Burt Reynolds. He was the guy raping Burt Reynolds in Deliverance, and then he's God damn it. Oh, he's the guy. He's Burt Reynolds' sidekick in Longest Yard.
Ah,
The guy that they rebooted and made Chris Rock in the Sandler Longest Yard, and Ned Beatty
yeah.
was also the guy. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Ned Beatty in Cool Hand Luke. That was somebody else, I think. And thank you for
Like
tuning
it.
into our Beatty tribute. Thank you guys. I do think there was a place for Henry Winkler, and I would say it would be Doctor Strange.
Henry Winkler is Doctor Strange. That would be amusing.
Are we trying to win awards with this, or are we trying to have fun with this? What are we doing?
I think we're trying to have fun with this for sure, more than anything else, right?
So Michael Caine as Magneto.
I mean, if it's all everybody out of all time and space as like the casting here, Chris Farley is the Blob.
Well, let me tell you something. I like to take crullers and stick right in here. Oh, if we're going all time changes everything, dude. Because then you get Andrew McCarthy as Banshee. I just love her, man. Oh, dude, you have to do Michael J. Fox as Spider-Man.
Oh, just yeah. Even if he's not the guy in the suit, if it's all voiceover work, as long as he's the one talking smack while Spidey's doing his jumping around and whatever, right?
And then the suit without the mask on. Oh, Nick, what do you mean we gotta stop Thanos? Christopher Lloyd would have been
Just
a great Magneto.
entire scenes of him talking to Reptile, calling him Doc, just for the fan service, right?
Doc, what do you mean?
Doc, you can't grow your arm back. Like, Doc, are you telling me?
We would have got Eddie Murphy, Black Panther. Right? No. They already beat us to it on that meme that came out, but obviously it would have been Sidney Poitier. Or if you could have done Sidney Poitier as T'Chaka, and then Eddie is T'Challa, or even John Amos. You just do Coming to America event. John Amos as T'Chaka in the suit. That motherfucker was yoked. You do as T'Chaka, and then you do in Eddie I'm going to find a wife in the quantum realm. I think.
All right. Well, if it's all time and space, I'll tell you what, man. I would tell me if I'm wrong about this. I think Steve Colbert could be a pretty good Mr. Fantastic.
Dude, a perfect Mr. Fantastic. And but he has to play it the way he played the Colbert Report. I don't mean right.
I honestly, now that I think about it, like he basically did a parody of that on Venture Brothers, didn't he?
Oh shit, was he on Venture Brothers?
I think he was like the Mr. Fantastic mock character on Venture Brothers.
But then you have
now that I think about it, so maybe that was just rattling around in my head from that. But it does. He's got the look for it, though, right? Like
perfect. So did Pierce Bronson. But if you make Colbert Mr. Fantastic, you have to make Dr. Doom Steve Carell. Where he's like, yeah, I'm Victor Von Doom, okay? Yeah, no, that's my name. So can you not talk to me while I put on my mask, please? Dave would have been a great. I don't know. I think Farley would have been a great The Thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's clobbering time. Uh,
Ah!
oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Uh, I think you have to do the walk-in as the Watcher.
All right, that one's weird, but I could see it.
Deep track. That's a very deep track. Or he can be Dormammu if he wants to. Man, all time changes this whole game.
Walking as Doctor Strange would be interesting. I'd probably watch that too.
That would actually be like that 90s walk-in, like that big hair.
Yeah, like prophecy walking.
Yeah, Dead Zone.
Dead Zone. Yeah.
Dude, what would you mean? Have you ever seen the SNL bit where they did Dead Zone?
Yes.
But he's working at like an office is the whole pitch.
Yeah. It's just like,
Yeah, dude.
yeah. They're gonna be out of coffee or something. Like it was all like really mundane
Yeah,
prophecies.
dude, so it's a perfect pitch for fucking Dead Zone. You gotta order lunch. You gotta order roast beef. They're gonna bring you turkey. Dude, it's so fucking great. Uh I was gonna say Robert Redford, but I'm pissed he did that shitty role in Winter Soldier. I think you can do I think young Val, like Iceman Val, would have been the perfect Johnny Storm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the fan service like, oh, he was Iceman and now he's Human Torch. Whoa.
Well, I mean, with CG, with advances in AI and CGI, eventually all this stuff will be possible.
No, once the studios eradicate actors completely, this will all happen.
Yeah.
Hey, where do you cast Nicholson? I don't want to be
in in you don't want to be who?
I don't want to be Mephisto.
I could kind of see that.
It's actually perfect. Oh, isn't that the Witches of Eastwick?
I mean, yeah, more or less.
He would have been a great Wolverine.
Way early, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Jack Nicholson would have been a great Wolverine.
I think they maybe stole the hair from that movie.
uh
Wait.
Man.
Mrs. Fantastic, Suzanne Summers.
Okay.
We're all okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Man, I mean now we're getting into
Oh, it's got to be fuck. I mean, I had two crazy tracks going on: characters and classic beloved stars here. Uh, oh, dude, Aykroyd as the Flash. I know they did that in the thing. No, you know what?
well now you're getting into DC.
Sorry. No, I'm breaking the rules. I'm breaking Aykroyd as Hawkeye. Young Aykroyd as Hawkeye.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah, you just kind of mash up Elwood and his character from Spies Like Us, and he's right there. Right?
Read a little bit of Ray from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he just have to be like mostly deadpan, and
I do like Bill Murray as Mr. Fantastic. But you know what? Let's be real. Bill Murray as Tony Stark.
like in his prime, like
Stripes Bill.
Stripes Bill. Yeah.
That sets you up because then you get to have oh man. Oh, Harold Ramis's Vision. No,
so
dude,
I mean, we're basically making like an all-star mystery men at this point.
no, yeah, we're out of control. It's Saturday. It's the marathon episode. Weirdos in Pursuit. This is what you came here for.
Yeah, you came here for this weird stuff.
Well, you obviously Paul Newman is Cap, right? Unless you go further back and you make it like Gary Cooper.
I mean, you want Cap to be your All American Patriot boy?
Like Warren Beatty is Cap. Mic drop.
Warren Beatty is Cap.
I feel like was Warren Beatty overrated, dude?
I don't know. No, I think he made his money and then kind of was just like, okay,
Got out, right?
I don't need to work. I'm only going to do fun projects, kind of thing, right? Like he falls into like the same category as like Liam Neeson,
Right. Like
right?
I don't have to do this.
Yeah, I don't have to
I
do
mean, we
this
haven't
stuff
even
anymore. Although Liam Neeson, he's going to be doing a Naked Gun reboot.
can't fucking believe that.
I'm down with it. Well, Leslie Nielsen played a lot of like badass dudes for a while, for a good long time before
What
he started
was,
doing comedy shtick.
wasn't he like
Right?
a 60s B like action star? More
He
or less.
was always a villain. Like he played a bad guy on Columbo.
What?
Yeah. And playing a bad guy on Columbo, that was like the thing to do if you were a movie star brand doing it, being like special on TV, right?
Do like a one-off appearance as a villain on one of those shows?
Yeah, like if you were already famous and you were gonna do like you would be a villain on the so Leslie Nielsen did it.
But Leslie
Oh,
Nielsen was also in like some pretty like what they thought would be big movies in the 60s that just tanked, like where he's just playing it straight.
yeah. No, he played villains a lot before he got into there's actually a weird interview you can listen to where he's just like, I like playing villains because they were like so outside of myself. Comedy's harder because it's so much more of yourself in it. Kind of weird introspection from Leslie.
I like that. I'd love to hear Leslie talk about acting.
It's out there somewhere. I don't remember where I found the clip, but I'm sure dig it up.
Wait, so in the new Lethal Weapon, sorry, Naked Gun, um, do we get a Nordberg reference? Will we recast Nordberg?
Will we recast Nordberg? Well, I mean, they'll have to recast Nordberg, but
Well, I
who
mean,
plays Nordberg?
No OJ fan service. We don't see Kurt Nordberg bump into OJ somewhere.
Do you think that there's some sort of like
What if OJ has like some
it's going to be a weird role for somebody to want to take because they're like, I mean, actors are a cowardly and superstitious lot, and like the guy who played it, like it's kind of like Jack Nicholson talking to Heath Ledger about the Joker, saying like it gets inside your head and like be careful, right?
Do you remember what he said?
Nordberg, you're in a situation where like if you take this role, you might like murder your ex-wife, like.
Well, and also you're forever in a conversation with OJ.
Yeah,
Which
is a weird thing to get compared to.
Right? Because from then on, people will go.
It would be funny if whoever they get, it would be really funny if there's at least one gag where Nordberg has a hard time putting on a pair of gloves. Like, that'd be great.
I mean, you can bring that back. I mean, even a glove joke, the least bit of a glove joke. We're like, get your tactical gloves, Nordberg. I can only find one.
These don't fit.
Right? Oh, and literally this. Also, Ned Beatty, Liam Neeson's sidekick in that. No, it wasn't. It was George Kennedy. I'm sorry. I've been mistaking Ned Beatty for George Kennedy in every single movie.
Ouch. Well, you don't have to apologize to me.
I'm a fraud. I think Dennis Miller would have been the guy to go to for Doom. Young Dennis Miller.
For Doctor Doom?
Yeah,
you want Dennis Miller for Doctor Doom?
I want 80s Miller as Doctor Doom.
Okay, Chico. Welcome to Latvia.
Here's the thing about Latvia, all right, babe. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
I don't want to go on a rant or anything, but unless you've seen a bunch of Latvian Orthodox chicks at the pierogi fest,
dude. Like, babe, I don't want to go off on a rant here, man.
oh,
The inner
that'd
politics,
be awful.
the inner politics of Latvia are like worse than a shield meeting on a bad day. Okay. Now, don't even get me started on Sokovia, how they landed that whole city, and we'll never know. And now you got the Accords. You ask a bunch of superheroes to follow your laws, which has kind of been the whole point. This is my opinion. I could be wrong. We'll be right back with Norm Macdonald. No, you have to have Norm would be a great cap.
Plastic Man came into my head, but that's DC.
Dude, do we finally have the CG to be able to do Plastic Man?
Yes, but we also have moved past the sexism that is required to do Plastic Man right.
Whoa. I was a big Plastic Man when the 60s cartoon, I was a big fan. What is the I did not know we had a problem here. Please, school.
I mean, there's I can't remember what issue of what it was in, but there was like a whole thing where like Plastic Man like pretended to be a woman's dress for like half of an issue, whereas he's just
like you mean like Garth, like, wait, I want to come back as Claudia.
It's just like
underwear.
No, it's like the comic is happening and the woman's at a party and somebody's just like, where did you get that dress? And just like, what do you mean? This was the one you left out for. Wait a second. And it's Plastic Man is the dress the whole time. Yeah. Plastic Man has that like freakazoid comic sensibility that like it'd be great. Plastic Man would make a great slapstick comedy superhero.
I always felt like Freakazoid is probably maybe like a nephew of Plastic Man.
Right? Like you always figure that there's something there.
I got into Freakazoid because I was like, that's like the Plastic Man suit.
Yeah, and it's rapid fire jokes. It's a lot of one-offs. It's
silly as fuck. Yeah. What were you when you were growing up? Who were your favorite? Like at the peak of your like Saturday morning cartoon days, who were your favorite heroes?
Saturday morning cartoon days. I mean, Saturday morning cartoons were weird in the early 80s.
I misspoke. Like, well, let's do Saturday morning cartoons first.
I mean, Saturday morning cartoons, for me, it was all about Looney Tunes because everything else was like, it would be on for a year or it would be some Disney kid stuff. Like, I was growing up in the era where Saturday morning cartoons, there was like the Gummy Bears cartoon, the one where the kid turned into a car for some reason. There was a Rubik's Cube cartoon for a while.
How crazy!
And other than that, we had like Smurfs and Looney Tunes. Like it was a different time, man.
Was He-Man around yet?
He-Man was around. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Please call me Adam from Eternia. I want to play He-Man so bad in like a suit, get super yoked, do some fucking HGH, get massive, and play like this super jokey He-Man. How did nobody ever know that He-Man was Adam? It's the same fucking dude, just in like a gay leather daddy outfit.
It's the Superman glasses thing. It doesn't matter, right?
At least Clark put on some fucking glasses.
Parted his hair the other way too.
Did he really? Is that real?
Yeah, go ahead. Watch the original Superman movie.
One, it's like all shitty, and then the other one's the perfect.
It's weird. This is the thing. If you watch Superman, parts his hair like he's right-handed and combing like this. Superman or Clark Kent parts his hair this way like he's lefty.
And it's all mashed down and shit, all stupid, like Republican congressman.
Yep. That's the thing.
So Saturday morning cartoons, are kids worse off? You have a kid. I don't. Practicing still on making one. But are they worse off?
I think well, I think something's been lost by the destination viewing. Like Saturday morning is not all that special because all the cartoons are available all the time, you know?
Right. It was a destination. It was the only day of the week where it was just all cartoons.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, with my current situation, my kid doesn't start all day school until this upcoming school year that hasn't started yet. So after this summer, I think my kid will appreciate the concept of Saturday morning more.
Breakfast with dad, watching cartoons, dad's down.
Yeah.
So when you were watching
But
Louis,
for right now, like what is my kid watch? My kid's 4, man. We're watching a lot of Number Blocks. We're watching some Dino Dana. We're we're watching a whole lot of Bluey because Bluey is amazing. If you're a
wait, now
parent and
Blue's
you're not
Clues.
watching Bluey, well, she had a Blue's Clues phase, but we're past that now.
Wait, but what? So what is Bluey?
Bluey is an amazing kid show out of Australia, where it's the 2 little girl dogs and their parents, and they're everybody's dogs, and they're all Australian, and it's very sweet and nice, and it's great.
It's
And
not. It's not as dark as Pound Puppies, is it?
no, they're dogs, but you know they all live in houses and whatever.
They're not.
But
They're orphans that are waiting every week to not be put down.
yeah, yeah, the Pound Puppy cartoon was a little weird. Now that you mention it,
Dark, right?
yeah, it was. But then things got better with the superhero stuff. You know, like once you got into the '90s with your X-Men and
Batman
your
the wasn't
and
even a
Batman
kid
the
show.
animated series was high drama. Batman the animated series was fantastic.
There are HBO shows that don't compete with those hour dramas.
Yeah.
I was never like a Transformers guy. I couldn't get into Alf.
I was a Transformers guy. Alf the cartoon show was weird.
They just tried to fit everything into it.
Well, it was all like prequel to the TV show. Like Alf the cartoon was all Alf on his home planet with all his other Alf family members.
Which, I'm down to build a wall to get Alf out of here. He eats cats. He's a threat to my home.
Well, I mean, that's interesting because I mean, you know, we I guess that it came up a little bit in the last Superman movie where it was like you're an alien from another planet kind of thing. Like what I'd like to see in a Superman movie, I'd like to see a Lex Luthor movie where he's like actually portrayed as the protagonist who's like,
dude, that's why he's one of the greatest villains ever, is because in his mind he's going, I've got a fucking alien that just showed up. What am I supposed to?
and he's all powerful, and we need to be able to like stop him if he decides to go rogue.
Which was kind of what the Affleck Batman got to say instead of Jesse Eisenberg, where he was like, there's a 1% chance. I would watch 1,000,000 movies. I won't live that long, but as with Jeremy Irons playing Alfred. He fucking crushed it. And you were more kind of like, God damn it, listen to Alfred. Because come on, man, Michael Gough and Bruce Wayne, he was just like an old man who was there.
See, I think that's part of DC's problem is that they are really good at these, you know, deep introspective storylines that aren't necessarily an action movie, right? Like I'd watch an Alfred movie. I'd watch an Alfred movie.
Well, they had a series on the BBC called Pennyworth.
Oh yeah.
And it's young Alfred, and like the first episode he meets Thomas Wayne. And you get like a little bit of fan service in the pilot. And then Pennyworth Alfred, as a young hot Alfred, is like doing missions and shit in London, and he's not in MI5,
Yeah.
but he runs into them and stuff. And I think you can do it right if you did it really, really well.
Yeah, and I think you can do that with a lot of DC stuff.
But people don't turn
there's
out.
there's not a hunger for that until you get the right writer who can reimagine it, right? Like, you know, Swamp Thing, Sandman, like somebody takes one of these old characters that nobody cares about and just completely redoes it. from the ground up.
I think the studios these days are so scared of doing anything new or anything that has been done. They just want to do shit that they know that they can prove. Look, I'm as excited as the next guy about the new Ghostbusters, but it is going to be a fan service buffet.
Yeah, because
Murray,
they know that that'll work.
Yeah, and I'll be there, and then like some of the kids who saw the last one will show up, but they're just it. I know it's not as like produced or like put together formulaic. Well, it's definitely that, but I think they have more creatives with Jason Reitman and the old G crew as opposed to some of these superhero movies they slap together. I mean, remember when Black Adam was supposed to be the biggest deal ever?
Yeah.
And The Rock was saying he's going to be the new head of DC.
Yep.
Jack, I don't know if you heard that didn't happen.
I know that didn't happen.
So he has now crawled back to WWE as head of creative.
Yeah.
I'm going Monday night.
It's a shame. It's a shame, and there needs to be.
But no,
I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great if somebody actually started like funding the creation of like some new heroes and stuff.
Yeah,
if we're gonna do hero stuff, like plenty of new powers you can come up with, I'm sure.
Oh, or interesting characters. I mean, True Detective is almost a superhero show. That first season, I mean, any great cop movie, you're almost a superhero.
That's true.
Is there a place would you rather reboot John McClane or see like the beginning of his story?
I can't imagine the beginning of his story is the beginning of his story is basically Last Boy Scout, right? Like it's kind of the
I mean, Lost Boy Scout got lost somewhere. Not enough people know that movie.
It's a goodie. Yeah, very good movie.
It's fucked up. But as far as the characters that haven't been done, I'm still rooting on a Wonder Twins movie.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
Obviously for kids, right? We're not going to do a dark, gritty Wonder Twins movie.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Presents Wonder Twins. You had wasn't there like a blob that hung out with the Fantastic Four and like replaced somebody at one point?
Yeah, the blob was a character. Like he was a villain. He was like Sinister Six. A Sinister Six movie would be interesting.
That's what they thought they were working up to with Keaton and them.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So Fox has a deal, or the Sony Fox deal with Spider-Man. They have to make a certain amount of Spider-Man related content where he's mentioned
per year. So a Sinister Six movie would make sense. Yeah.
Have you heard about Madam Web?
Yeah. I've heard about it.
The worst, I haven't seen it. I'm not going to do that. The worst movie that's ever been made?
Really?
I guess you're supposed to enjoy Sydney Sweeney. I don't know.
I mean, worst movie that's ever been made is that's a big hurdle.
Well, also that's a crazy dunk, like Shaq breaking the backboard when more than one outlet says that. And
I don't know. I mean, there's been crappy superhero movies for a long time. They just had bigger budgets now.
Guess who plays Uncle Ben in the movie?
Who?
Adam Scott. And he's got like a beard and he's all sexy because it's before Spider-Man. It's like in the 90s.
It's like okay.
Adam Scott is like the sexy, like wet hair and the beard. He's a paramedic. All right.
Yeah. I think they need to stop doing that.
What, like the
even Kevin Costner's Pa Kent thing didn't really work out either. You know,
I thought it was great.
I thought it was. I thought it was. I thought. I thought it was the whole death of Pa Kent thing was dumb. I
No,
thought it
because
was
well, because
dumb.
Superman Cruz saved his dad in a second. No one would even saw it happen.
Yeah, and like, don't use your powers.
I think maybe Jonathan Kent was just over all of it.
Eh, I think that was a flaw in that script
Uh,
because
uh,
you want Pa Kent to be like, son, you have to use your powers for good, and sometimes I
where
understand you have to keep your secret, but
right when Costner was like, whatever you do, never use your powers.
yeah, exactly.
What? I have bad news for you. We found out Walker on the CW. This will be its last season.
Oh, oh darn!
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, it's the number one show on CW. I just kidding. I know.
Which is David Letterman would say is almost like not having a show at all.
I think his options are out. I don't know where he's going to go from here. Did you see Shane Gillis on Saturday Night Live?
I did not know. I
You know,
actually don't watch SNL as like it's not a go-to for me these days.
it's very weak.
It
Did you
yeah.
watch? Did you watch
Did I watch what?
SNL growing up?
Oh yeah, of course, all the time.
Were you Eddie generation, or were you like the Hartman and Sandler and them?
I would have been all right. So Dennis Miller was doing the Weekend Update. Hartman was there.
Lovitz.
Lovitz. Kevin Nealon was still on. Yeah, that era.
So it's like right before Sandler shows up.
Yeah, right before Sandler shows up, I think. Probably.
I don't know, man. I think they should just cancel a show at the 50th anniversary. Because once Lauren is gone, I mean, who the fuck do you put in charge? You could go Tina Fey, but do we want to do this anymore?
I mean, is there still well again, it's the destination viewing thing that it's the opposite of Saturday morning cartoons. Everybody's got everything that they need to watch, right? And if you want to sketch if you want a sketch show, you know, you can take your pick, go on YouTube, pull up as many Key and Peele or Kids in the Hall clips as you want. You don't need to.
You don't have to be up late at 10:30, be somewhere with a TV,
Yeah,
ready to go.
I mean, I still think there's value in it. Like, there's definitely value in having a group of comedians who are like, once a week, we're going to do an hour and a half where we satirize everything that happened this week. I think that there's definitely a market for that, and it's important, and I think it's valuable work.
You would be a great showrunner for a show like
that. Lauren, buddy, call.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't have the number. I'm sorry. Did Tina not reach out?
I mean, I think there's something to that. You just gotta, but you need, like, you know, that team of writers and comedians who are really gonna
push it.
Yeah.
No, but I think you'd be a great showrunner for a sketch show like that, not SNL. Yeah, okay, you'll have to crawl it out of my cold dead hands, okay? But because, dude, you have such a great finger on pulse of like what needs to be made fun of, and you also have a great ability to go like, "Thanks for coming in. You're just not what we're looking for." So between like
Uh,
those abilities, like the casting and also like just your, the shit that's on your menu.
yeah, well, it very well. I think just it like if I went through my Rolodex and like if somebody said you're going to show run this, you need to go out and find 8 comedians who are going to be your writers slash cast, and I could go out and say, all right, can all of you give me like 5 pages a couple times a week, and us come up with a show by the end of the week,
Can I
kind
can
of
I
thing,
for this show?
huh?
Can I read for this show?
Could you read for this show?
I mean, like, can I audition for this show that you're running?
Not at the moment because no one's given me that show yet.
No, we're already in the world where you have the show.
Oh, if we're already in the world, well then yes, of course I want a Sam Slade there to.
Uh, okay, so cast 10 comedians or people you would put on this show that obviously are, because people. I mean, your Hydra tentacles run deep, Spectre over here.
They do. I mean, like, whew, of the of well, okay, so like there'd have to be. I imagine that it would be a thing where I could take the people I know. Like if I would approach it as like if I was putting together like a National Lampoon crew, right? Like I'd want to go for some combination of people who are not particularly well known and get like a not quite ready for primetime players vibe going, right? But so yeah, I'd have you on the list, I think. Um I'd probably get Trey Crowder.
Oh, why is he not hosting already?
You'd think he should have popped bigger by now, but I mean, I guess he
Scared,
did. He
scared
had
of.
a pilot in the works at some point, didn't he? But
I
I
bet.
thought he did.
I bet he'll come back.
Don't quote me on that. But
All right, so you got me and Crowder.
you and Crowder, that could play off well. And I guess take Trey. You probably gotta at least consider a couple of his well-read buddies, right?
Oh, does he have a crew?
Yeah, he's got like 2 or 3. They do like a thing. Uh,
Timmel or
hmm?
Nathan? Timmel?
Nathan Timmel. I don't know if I mean Nathan does good stand-up. I don't know if he does sketch stuff at all. I don't know if he'd want to. I don't know. I don't know if he'd want. I'll tell you. The thing about Timmel, I don't think he'd want to move from Iowa to do whatever this show is. Like wherever this show would be set up, it wouldn't be Iowa, and I don't think he'd want to move from Iowa. But
Okay. Well, it's Timmel's loss.
I mean,
Medical
like I
show.
said, love him. I'm talking to Timmel tomorrow for my show next week. People, tune in. Man, other comedians.
Two guys on SNL right now from Austin, and one guy's like a true sketch guy named Andrew Dismukes, and he's a great third banana. I mean, he has his moments. He's harmless. And there's another guy named Devin Walker, and he used to beg me to do the little open mic that I was hosting. But Lauren hired him, Keenan can't be the only one kind of deal.
um, Katie Goodman.
No,
Katie Goodman. Katie Goodman would be good.
he's funny.
She's very funny. She'd probably be able to rock an ensemble like that.
And then I think you probably go Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Are you kidding?
Oh, you're right. We need more Highlander to watch.
maybe as a host one time. I don't know.
Let me ask you before.
Boy, if you could snag Keegan Michael Key, that'd be
Oh,
rad.
Lord.
He just he's epic. Um,
But hang on real quick. This just dawned on me. I started having a panic attack. Win, lose, or draw, are the Trump people going to try to start violence?
You mean after the election?
Before, during? Like, I mean, seeing what they did already. I know.
Here's my thinking. I do think that a lot of it is all talk because, as you remember from the pandemic, uh, it's not so much the loud, brash Trump jerks who go to the protests and go to the Trump events and are all loud and obnoxious. The thing is, you got to remember that like these guys, they got mortgage payments, they got boat payments, they got wives who flip out if they can't get their mani-pedi on time. And if you're telling me that this guy is going to quit his job and trump across the country, I just don't see it. Like I think if it comes down to, oh, you want to drive to Virginia and fight the next Civil War, well then you don't have a job. I think they're going to be like,
Me and the
all
kids will
right,
leave.
fine, I'll stay and work my job. Like,
Yeah, it's. I think all their all stars from the insurrection have been locked up. You know, like
not what is it? MAGA shaman or whatever the hell his name is.
did he not go to prison?
He was in jail for a while, but he's on like probation now. Like one of my friends during the anti-Satan bill thing at the Capitol ran into him, and he
No
was
way.
like,
For
"Hey,
real?
trying to get a photo op." Yeah,
So he's doing
with
photo
my with
Arizona
my
Capitol?
he was trying to get a photo op with my Satan friends, just to be like, I'm still relevant.
Was he in the outfit?
No.
Okay.
That's what my friend didn't notice him until after the fact. Yeah.
That's like kids taking off the makeup. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, you don't. He doesn't get to go straight. Like that doesn't.
There was
It'd
a
be
guy.
like it's like Carrot Top trying to do comics with comedy without props, right? Like you
I
know,
don't know, but
Gallagher without his sledgehammer. It's all
oh
pointless.
my God, now it's
It
how
he'll be able to like dress up as the QAnon shaman and go to like county fairs all around the Midwest and like charge $5 for people to take pictures with him for the rest of his life if he wants to. But that's about
it's like Lou Ferrigno at Comic Con.
like Lou Ferrigno at Comic Con. Yeah, he'll be able to do that at like MAGA rallies for the rest of his
CPAC.
life. But
Like the table
CPAC,
outside
yeah.
CPAC.
Yeah, he'll just have a booth at CPAC and he'll do $5 signatures and $10 selfies. And
It's 50 if you want to wear the hat. Man, I can't believe that fucking dude. I wish our side, if push came to shove, was ready to do that, but we're still fighting over, purity candidates. We need our guy to be like so perfect, never
Not
to do.
really, though. I mean, if you look at the Democratic primary, the left, like the people who are registered independent and leftists, right? Those people are the ones who are not. But in the Democratic primaries so far, Biden's been, 90, 95, 97%. Like it hasn't even been close, which is why there's nothing to report on because there's no tension there. It's just like Joe's going to win this in a walk. Everybody in the DNC is behind this.
What makes me nervous is the fact that the convention's in Chicago. It didn't go well.
But I mean, the Democrats aren't the ones who are anywhere looking close to a contested convention. Trump gets a conviction, and all of a sudden, the RNC is a contested convention, and there's problems, and like that's where you're going to see, and they're the ones who are all carrying guns. So it's going to be a tense Republic RNC this year. You mark my words.
I hope I get to go.
You hope you get to go.
I'm hoping to get to be a delegate.
At the DNC?
No, at the RNC.
How are you going to be a delegate at the RNC?
Don't worry about it.
All right, if you say so.
And I'm gonna put up Arnold Schwarzenegger for my vote for president. And I'm
I
gonna
don't know
start
really.
the RNC and change the Constitution so Arnold can save this party.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you manage to secure a delegate position at the RNC, then let me know because I will email Rolling Stone and be like, you need me to cover this like Hunter Thompson covered Chicago.
The
Because
shit I would get
I got
into.
a hot tip.
My God. The problem is
Yes, it is. It is that time of year in the election season where all of us who have been doing this for a very long time are rereading our copies of Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail. Uh,
how come they don't do that Hunter Thompson movie? That's like the most
right?
fun,
Well, so much
and
of
we
it
got
is dialogue, though. Like that's a weird one to do as a movie because so much of it is him writing while sitting on the campaign bus with all the other journalists, just in the
rode
press pool.
rode in Nixon's limo. Remember that scene? And they just talked about.
That would be a good scene.
I don't know. Hunter S. Thompson. I think more people, the kids coming out these days, they need to do their homework with some Hunter S. Thompson. Because I know once I read Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail in '72 when Bush was running for re-election, that's probably those two things together are why I got into politics.
Yeah, that was yeah. It's not just Johnny Depp in the movie. Hunter wrote a lot of stuff about a lot of things.
And it was real as fuck. I mean, the drug that he said Muskie was on or whatever. I
Probably.
I
I
game
guess
where
you could make that whole movie, but it has to be not just. It would have to be like you'd have to mash up two things. You'd have to mash up the Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail with his run for sheriff in Colorado.
oh dude, that's a great story. In Aspen, he ran for mayor of Aspen. Just being a dick about it.
Mayor or sheriff? I think he was running for sheriff.
Was he running for sheriff of Aspen?
Yeah, and he was very much just like, I don't give a shit if you smoke pot. Why would I care?
We're not gonna
Look at
arrest
me.
for that. Come on. Real quick. I know we're all getting tired here. We're going on 3 hours. Your top three favorite cult leaders in history, not including Donald Trump, because we don't know how that ends.
Top three favorite cult leaders. Like, what do you mean by favorite cult leader?
Like if I was if I was investing in a cult, this is who I would draft.
Like, if you you were setting up like a board of supervisors for a new cult as like your get rich quick scheme.
No. The who you thought the most effective cult leaders were.
Oh well, okay. Well, efficacy. You gotta say that L. Ron Hubbard really had uh, his thumb on the pulse of what was going to end up being a very successful cult.
He's kind of
And
Dr.
he
J.
made a
Yeah.
lot of money doing it. As a guy who struggles with writing some science fiction, there's definitely an appeal to the way he went about becoming a cult leader.
You know how that happened is he was sitting at a diner in Chicago with Del Close, who's a Second City director. And they would see each other like, pretty regularly at this diner in the morning. And there's this, so you got a theater director and this author. And L. Ron Hubbard's bitching about his taxes in Illinois. And Del Close is like, I'm tired of hearing you bitch. If you don't like it, start a cold.
Yeah, so that was a very effective cult. Um,
Boy, they're not as Scientology is not where it used to be, even within like the last 10 years.
I don't know, it's a advertising machine for Tom Cruise at this point. Right? Like,
But even I think he hasn't he even taken a step back. I felt like he
I don't
did
know.
that.
It seems like he's got his own little
They still can't
kind of.
find the guy's wife, the head of Scientology's wife.
Oh yeah. Well, you can understand somebody going recluse from that. Who knows? Because it's impenetrable that you're never going to find out.
Until I mean, years later, we'll see the documentary.
Yeah, yeah. When some people who escape go out and make it.
All right, so you go L. Ron Hubbard, and then
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard's up there. I don't know if I'd call him cult leader, but uh, Jack Parsons was heavily involved in Aleister Crowley's Ordo Templi Orientis, and he went on to create uh, what's the abbreviation? It's part of NASA. The people who make the rockets.
I have no idea.
Jet Propulsion Laboratories, JPL.
Oh,
Jack Parsons responsible for JPL, and he was heavily invested in Aleister Crowley and the Ordo Templi Orientis and all that.
okay, so kind of like not a cult leader, but definitely
A cult offshoot, yeah, and subsequently blew himself up in his garage. So it doesn't always work out, but still, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have like satellites and stuff. So
do you think he knew Bob Lazar?
huh?
You think he knew Bob Lazar?
Bob Lazar? Tell me about Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar is the guy who worked at Area 51, who worked for JP, got hired by JPL.
Oh, well, presumably, assuming that they were around at the same time.
Yeah, and Bob Lazar was the first guy to ever come out about like, yeah, I saw the fucking spaceships and the alien ships and
Gotta take all that with a grain of salt.
Jack, is there something you want to tell me and the viewers? Do you know something we don't know when it comes to the tall grays?
Me? No, not at all.
All right. Have you ever been to Roswell?
No.
It'd be a great middle of the road trip for us to meet sometime.
That's true. I'd go do like a Roswell one-off.
That'd be fun.
That would be kind of fun.
I wore yellow underwear for like 5 years when I was a kid because
That is about halfway, and I'm always happy to go to New Mexico if for nothing else than to get some green chili because
it's just dank.
yeah, I think I started a small fight on Facebook the other day because they started a thing on what real chili is, Texas, and like there's no beans in chili, and everybody else is like there is beans in chili, and I'm like I'm in Arizona. Chili is green and made with pork.
Guys, maybe chili is just whatever you want it to be. We don't have to have this tribalism.
Yeah, I think we can just accept that.
Dude, the amount of fights that go on within Texas about beans or no beans. That's our own civil war, like, continues.
Yeah, it is a very contentious fight, and I don't understand.
I don't really care either way.
Yeah. Are you braising a bunch of tough cuts of meat so they're actually edible? And are they in a flavorful sauce? And whether there's beans or not, kind of to me depends on whether or not you're putting it on a hot dog. Like,
right, sure. I mean, to me, I'm going, is this going to look the same way going in as it looks coming out? It's a shame. We can't get on the same page in this country.
Yeah, we should respect all kinds of chilies, folks. That's what it comes down to.
Believe all chilies.
Yes, all chilies.
Yes, all chilies. And then we
hashtag.
Yes, all chilies. Oh, and you hold up the bowl of chili when they hit you with the pepper spray. You're like, thank you. I didn't have hot sauce.
I've
Right,
been
I
in
thought
places.
that
I've been in places where see. Here's the thing about chili without beans, as far as I'm concerned, may as well be sloppy Joe.
yes, it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think chili has more than one ingredient, right? Like it can't just be meat and
No, well, I mean, to me, it seems like there's chili, and then there's chili con carne, which is chili with meat. That's how it. So it seems to me that chili doesn't need to have meat in it at all. Chili with beans by itself
is that it's
is
what's
is
this?
is acceptable.
It depends on what the meaning of chili is.
Well, I think it's ultimately like the seasonings and the broth, though, right? Like
Right. Yeah, I don't know. We're off the rails here, folks.
we're a little off the rails.
Yes.
I think there's a hearty tradition starting in the Northeast, working its way down through the South and across the Southwest.
And again,
And
we like the evolution that it takes as we go west.
yeah, and then there's offshoots like chili starting as like this food that the Acadians developed when they were braving the Canadian wilderness, and then brought it down through the eastern United States, and then this part split off that became gumbo, which is also fantastic, and then
Woo! Thought it wouldn't even come up. Yeah.
and then it moves across the south through the Southwest. And by the way, I don't mean to pick on Texas about this, but just as a point of narrative, you're not the South, you're South Central. Just to
We're
be
Texas.
clear. But you're not the South, you're South Central. There's the South, there's South Central, which is Texas, and then there's the Southwest, which is me and New Mexico.
Which is which is you in New Mexico, super laid back and just kind of chilling.
And kind of, southern Colorado. Yeah, like maybe a little bit of Utah.
And maybe El Paso probably sneaks in there.
Maybe El Paso kind of sneaks in there.
They show up like a couple times a month. But, hey, what are you guys up to?
Yeah, okay. El Paso is allowed at the chili cook-off between Arizona and New Mexico and Colorado.
When chili gets to Boston, like, what if we just do this with meat and clams? I mean, not meat. I'm sorry, milk and clams. Like, it's the same thing. We use our own stuff.
Well, as you know, we have friends from up there who
We do.
they're very, very, very spice averse, right?
Can't handle it. Do you do house spice? Can you go spicy? Can you go pretty spicy?
Not as spicy as I used to be able to go.
Dude,
Like
what happens when you go?
I'm older now. It's not my face can take it, but my stomach not so much, you know?
Dude, you tell my story. I used to be a legend of like the hottest sauce you have, bro. Right? And just
Yeah.
in that high, right? Like it's the spicy high is so
You
great.
get the headband sweat.
Oh, or even like the shot through the brain, like Doctor Strange. Oh, and then fucking you get older and you go, it's the problem is my stomach's gonna beat me up in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is I can eat this, but I'm gonna need like, get the Tums, get the baking soda. Let's make sure that we're prepared for this later.
Can we stop and get a bedpan on the way home? So we've been going 3 hours.
2.5, yeah.
Fuck it, let's go all night.
I think we make it to the end of this hour and we've done our service.
No, we're gonna go for 500 years, a new era of Weirdos in Pursuit.
It's like I tell you, this is one day back when I was a kid. We had our local radio station, right? And
What kind of music did they play?
it was just pop rock.
Yes, whatever.
Yeah, regular, radio station. The other one that nobody knows about because I grew up in and around Scranton, so everybody knows that Froggy 101 is the country station because there were those stickers all over that damn office. But nobody knows about KRZ. Nobody knows about 97.9 The Mountain. Those radio stations from that area. Nobody cares. But so anyway,
KRZ.
huh?
Justice for KRZ.
Justice for KRZ. Yeah. But they had they one night they decided they brought on a new DJ, and his radio handle, he went with Jimmy Cunningham.
Okay, that's fun.
And so for his entire first episode, he did nothing but play the Happy Days theme for an entire hour.
Was he like, fine, get the morning show slot? This guy sounds like a genius. or
I know, it was like a Saturday night. It was a whole thing, because this was before most of us had cable. This was
right.
This was Elvis Costello radio era people listening to the radio.
Jimmy had balls.
It was a gutsy move.
Hell yeah. I've got this is a great story. Thank you for bringing this up. I worked in radio for a long time. So like when I started as an intern on KLBJ, the big rock station in Austin, like the rock, your rock of Austin. And it's LBJ because it was originally Lady Bird's own station. I started as an intern and had to do all this crazy shit before they hired me. Like I did drink 440s taped to my hands one morning, Edward 40 hands. And then like somebody wanted WrestleMania tickets, so I had to come down and it was like 2 UT softball players, and they had to only in boxers, and the tickets to WrestleMania or not even WrestleMania, like Monday Night Raw, are taped in my butt crack in my boxers. So they had to get me down and get the tickets out of my butt crack. And I was yoked at the time. I had been a high school athlete. And so what else? Oh, I called in sick after Halloween. And the day I came back, my punishment was they brought down some chick from UT, some sorority girl. Not the sorority girl you were hoping they'd bring. You know what I mean? And they blindfolded me, and she would chew up candy and a baby bird it into my mouth. And until I got 5 correct, you would, every time you got one wrong, you'd have to start the process over.
Oh, geez.
Then there was a day where I had to wear the shocking dog collar, like the Bart shot collar. Whole episode, you can find that on YouTube. It's on my YouTube page. Just search Sam Slade dog collar. I think I still have heart palpitations from it. So I did all that, and then I got some other radio jobs, and but there was one that I got fired from in Chicago, but it was mostly the whole system ran online, and you kind of do it remote. But they did lock me out of like the logins and shit after they fired me. So I could just fuck with these other shows and turn on my mic from home and be on their show and play sound.
The early days of people trying to figure that stuff out. I'll tell you who absolutely won the transition from terrestrial radio to online. Like Dr. Domeno still does a streaming show once a week.
I mean, radio.
Man's a legend.
Corporate radio is just trash now. There's not a single personality on corporate radio that is allowed to say anything.
No, it doesn't matter, because it's all so ridiculously structured, and it's just like, okay, here's the block of music you're going to play. Here's your weather report. You got 30 seconds to do it. Blah blah blah. There's no.
Yeah, hey, and remember, can you plug the Kite Festival?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so that last, long story short, that what I had access after I was fired to these other guys' shows. There was a couple like right-wing conspiracy shows on. It's like 2011. and I would jump on and play this sound effect from Price is Right. Bam, 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 wah.
Good
So
one.
every caller they would take who's like, I gotta say, Hillary Clinton, bam, 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 because I could also hang up on callers. And they saying
Oh,
that
nice.
the host is going, someone's trying to silence us.
And that wasn't it at all. It was just disgruntled Sam.
Just being a dick. Yeah, so on the rock station show, my name was Son of Sam.
Yeah, that was your handle.
That's what they called me. Yeah. So we'd go to live events. Son of. Please, no autographs today, please. We'll get you a T-shirt. Tara will give me shit and be like, "Oh, does this remind you of your days running the prize hoard table?" Like the people, there's a massive amount of people who show up to radio event just to get the merch, like the free
Oh
bullshit.
yeah, yeah.
Like the oh, I'm sorry. Like I had people outside of a minor league baseball game like surround me because I was out of T-shirts and had like 3 stickers left.
Yep. Yep.
Just like a
People
back.
do anything for free merch. People do anything for hip merch.
What is that about? It's not even good merch. It's shirts
I don't know.
like three like different brandings ago.
People like, well, that's the thing. The old merch is the stuff for the people who just moved to town and want to look like they've been there longer, right?
You have that cool like
you want to have that OG cred, right?
yeah. See
like this came up. Somebody posted a quote from Stu in one of the Satan forums. I mean, it was Stu DeHaan, the TST's lawyer guy who I did a show with for a little while. Hey, and they posted a quote. Oh, I think my headset just died. I might have to switch here. Hang on one sec. There, all right. I had to switch because these guys just fell apart because we've been going for so long.
We told the folks it'd be a marathon, and it has been.
Anyway, so somebody posted this quote from Stu, and the first thing that occurred to me was just like, I have a T-shirt with that quote on it. Oh, like that was like 5-6 T-shirts ago now. And so he's just like, where do I get one of those? They're just like, I mean, this was way back in the day, so like I have the one, and like I have the files to make more, but
like, do you know a good screen printer?
Huh?
Or at that point you're like, do you know a good screen printer? I can email you the logo.
I could, but like, what's it worth to you? Like,
It's an emotional tie thing. By the way, I'd be remiss. It's a very, very shameless plug, but I'd be remiss. Do you do the nootropic stuff?
do I what? Nootropics?
Yeah.
No, not really. Why? Are we gonna start? Are we gonna start hawking supplements on this show? Is that
No. It's this great guy named Robert Brown out of Dallas came up with this. It's called Brain Hack Coffee.
Okay.
The latte. It's nootropic coffee, and it's instant. You don't put in a coffee filter or anything.
So what is it, like mushroom based stuff?
Yes, very mushroom based. I mean, like 11 different mushrooms in it. Ginkgo biloba, shiitake, turkey tail mushroom. I mean, just all kinds of great mushrooms. But it's a small company out of Dallas. They're trying to get it off the ground.
I mean,
Tastes like chocolate.
I'd rather they buy stuff that you're plugging than stuff that like Rogan or Alec Jones are plugging. So buy Sam's coffee.
Well, look, here's the thing: is I don't get a dime off this. I'm not making any money at all. I know Robert Brown who runs it. I've had it. It's they just now got to where they're doing like real packaging. Before this, they were still doing like samples on the market, and it's it's not gonna have that you're not gonna feel that caffeine at all. Really, it's great for decaf people, but it's great anytime during the day. Smoke a bowl, drink a cup of that, maybe ice one. And I'll tell you what, those Marvel movies make a lot more sense.
Oh well, there you go.
Thank you for letting me do a shameless plug.
No problem at all.
I'm sure they will appreciate me waiting until the 11th hour to do it here on the middle.
Well, you know how it goes. People remember the beginning, they remember the end, the stuff in the middle.
Something in the middle, and then we save the day.
Yeah. So what do you got going on? You now that we're getting close to where I think we're probably gonna.
We can wrap.
So what do you got coming up in the next few weeks? You just landed a part. You said you told me. I don't know if you talk about it. You just said you landed something, didn't you?
I did a couple days on the Billy Bob Thornton show called Landman, based on the podcast Boomtown. It's like an oil power player show. It's Billy Bob and Demi Moore and John Hamm.
Oh, cool.
A UT track coach in an episode. Then I did the Linkletter musical. That was a blast. So fucking cool. Just that whole facility, seeing like the Death Proof car, and all like the old like Dust Till Dawn like props. But unfortunately, that doesn't come out until 2040. I'm not even playing. He's doing like what was the one he did with the.
Oh, this is the one you were telling me about, where like it's they're like taking forever because they're shooting the actor's age in real time.
Yeah, it's Jonah Hill's sister, B.D. Feldstein. So guys, eat your vegetables, stay alive, so you can see me in that. And we're still doing Weirdos at Home. And then I just signed to do a little musical in Austin that they're hoping to get, kind of funding and travel with it. And it's called Mr. Hanks. And it's a family friend of mine who wrote it. He called me out of the blue the other day. I haven't talked to him since I was like probably 12 at like Easter or something. And he's wrote 7 novels and a bunch of plays. It takes place in New York City in 1985. And it's kind of a bit of a Woody Allen kind of situation, but with music in it. As far as like Annie Hall kind of vibe. And I don't know yet, but I may be playing a Jersey mobster. Polly Walnuts, Silvio kind of flavor, but he's closet gay. So get off of Superman. Leave him alone. I don't know, man. That's about it right now. You see me on Walker, still doing that mess. We're late enough in the show where I could go ahead and let you know I've seen 2 episodes of Walker out of the 50 I've been in. But no, I really would like to see more projects come to Texas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, if you don't have to travel, you don't have to travel, right?
Well,
I'd like to see more projects come to Arizona that aren't porn.
No, but not for me. But because when you get on a set, you realize this isn't liberal elite. This is carpenters, electricians, teamsters,
for sure.
Guys, people who work in hair ladies who work in local salons who get to come do hair for a couple days. It provides so many jobs that they're long days, but they're fucking fun days.
For sure.
Anytime
right? Well, I don't have any of that, folks. I only have books you can buy and the Patreon.
Yeah, because I make no profit from you watching any of those programs that I mentioned.
For real. I do have, like I said, I do have Nathan Timmel. I don't know if you got to check out any. I sent you the link to his new special, right?
Yeah, I watched like the first little bit. I'm going to finish it tonight. By the way, your interview with Reggie Watts was phenomenal from what I
Oh,
saw.
thank you.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So all of those things you can go check out on the Patreon.
I think we should do Weirdos in Pursuit like once a month.
I think that there's room to do a live stream once a month. I think
We make that happen.
we can make this happen. Maybe flesh it out a little more, have a little bit more scripted. Be ready for what we're going to talk about a little more.
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, I thought the fan casting thing killed.
I thought, yeah, I think we did okay there.
Thought us both holding Mitch McConnell and kicking him in the chest killed.
Did we say that?
No, but I think people can read between the lines. Hey, look, see if you can tell who I'm doing now. Ready? Ask me if I'm running for re-election. Ready?
You're going to do your McConnell?
Go ahead. No, you don't know who I'm going to do. Ask me if I'm running for re-election.
Are you running for re-election?
Thank you guys for tuning in on the live stream.
Very nice.
Dude, this has been so much fun, man.
It has been. It has been. All right, folks.
What are you doing with the rest of your day? If you go put something on right now, what are you going to watch?
Me, the rest of my day. I just started watching an old uh uh uh
Come on, Mitch.
oh, hang on, I'm trying to remember the name of the show. I'm gonna have to look it up in my things.
Are you running for re-election or not?
Hang on, I gotta pull up my history list because I don't want to get the title wrong.
Yeah.
Stop from here.
It was called Designing Women on Hulu.
There it is. Jeeves and Wooster. It's an old BBC show. But it's Hugh Laurie and
Oh yeah.
And
Cool.
it's apparently it's based on a bunch of Woodhouse books. I don't know, but it's old British comedy, so it's pretty dry. But it's
You love that stuff. That's your whole. That's what you love.
I do, man. I was just telling people that I like put on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown just like as background noise for me. Because it's great because there's a bunch of comedians and they're all making jokes, but there's also math and letters for the kid, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's something for everybody.
Yeah. That's a thing that I think would hit pretty big. Like if you if you get like a comedy troupe that wants to do like the quiz show thing, I think there's room for that.
That'd be a lot of fun. Just more of all that with like people the adults know and like, and for kids.
It's just for main, after the 6 o'clock news,
Right.
the Jeopardy Wheel of Fortune crowd,
Or Saturday morning cartoon.
or Saturday morning cartoons.
This was a lot of fun. I think we'll do this once a month or whatever we figure it out. By the way, folks, if you didn't see the promo, Jack fucking hit that shit out of the park. That was amazing.
That was a pretty easy thing to throw together.
For you?
I do have some editing skills if anybody happens to need that kind of thing.
Yeah, hire this motherfucker. This is something I cannot help you with.
I can. Podcasts, these things. Technically, I did a movie. If you want to count, Michelle remembers the porn version. I did all the AV on that,
Nice, dude. It's very fun.
which was like a pandemic Zoom table read version of a script by Lucian Greaves.
very cool.
I'll send you a copy of that. It is pretty hilarious.
I'll watch it tonight. Terry's in DC. Terry's pressing the flesh, having meetings with bad guy congressman looking for more Native American.
It is probably it was like peak pandemic weirdness where everyone was just all shut in. And we we were doing the Satan stuff, and Lucian had this script, and we just got everybody together on Zoom, and we're just like, we're gonna do this. No prep. It is gloriously bad. I'll say that.
I feel that I was on Walker.
But I think you'd really appreciate, like my Zoom camera switching skills.
I have to check it out. Send it to me, and I'll finish the Timmel special, and yeah, let's do this. Once or twice a month.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, everybody, like I said, right here, this channel on Thursday, interview with Nathan Timmel that I got coming up, and always hit up Sam's Weirdos at Home.
Yeah, I'm just at the Sam Slade everywhere. I don't know if people can see that.
I think it's on there. Should be.
I'll trust our digital overlords.
It either works or it doesn't, right? Hey, for one Saturday a month, we can just knock off and be silly.
Absolutely, man. That's what Saturday's for.
All right, Sam. It's been good talking to you.
Always a blast. Follow this man. Order those books right behind him.
Please do.
Let's go. Let's do this. Or I'm going to get that weird Dune piercing.
I
think they wear Dune.
Chain?
Yeah, I'm going to do that if people don't start buying more of your books.
That is just that piercing was always a bad idea, right? Like every time you see somebody with it, Sinead O'Connor had it for a while in the Nothing Compares to You video. But like every time you see a guy with that, you're just like, if you get in a fight, I know exactly what's going to happen to you.
Don't ask me to help.
All right, man. Well, this has been Weirdos in Pursuit.
Number 1.
We'll see you next month.